So we're going to break the session today into two parts. Part one, we're going to deal with 9001, 45001, and environment. That is group one. And then group two, we're going to deal with 27001, 22301, and 20,000. So the group one is for quality, health, safety, and environment experts. Group two is for the people who are interested in IT management, information security, and business resilience. So everybody in the chat room, if you don't mind, can you tell me which group do you really belong to? What group are you interested in? Everybody go to the chat room. I want to know the people who are for group one. I can also go to the chat room. I want to know the group one people. All right, so put it in the chat room, everybody. So group one, group one is health, quality, health, safety, and environment. Group two is information systems, information security, and business continuity. So everybody, I want to count. So please, Bodo Victoria, let's see which group is going to win. Is it the group one that will win, or is it group two? Group one or group two? Let us see who are those, which group is going to win this competition. The group one people or the group two people? Is it the quality, health, safety, and environment persons, or is it going to be the other group, the IT service management, information security, cybersecurity, and the business resilience people? All right. It seems group one is winning. It seems group one is winning now. Who is winning this conversation? I have some group one. I have some group two. Others, please, can you all come on the call and tell me who's winning? Who's going to win this? So we're going to deal with both of them adequately. What I hope all of you will do is to take advantage of the sessions. The group one, it doesn't matter whether you're here for group one or for group two. My advice to you is that you take advantage of all the sessions. Mr. Femi Folorunshaw will take group one, right? And he will do it over the next 1 hour, there about 1 hour, 15 minutes. He'll be done. We'll take a quick break and then 5-minute break. And then Mr. Damilari will quickly also go through his own side of the work, which is to focus on the other three standards. So if you're going to do yourself a favor, then you should be part of both, so that you can become a well-rounded or a better rounded professional. In modern day, you need to know about quality, health and safety and environment, but you also compulsorily must know about IT, you must know about information security, you must know about business resilience, and I'm sure Mr. Damilari would also throw in some artificial intelligence portion to the work. And maybe the next time we're going to do this, we're going to do something specifically around AI, artificial intelligence in oil and gas industry, its application and things like that. So once again, I welcome all of you. I'm hoping you will take advantage of both sessions, and all of you go ahead and write your 6 foundation exams. You have free 6 foundation exams that will qualify you across the 6 standards. So once again, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for taking the time out to be here. And we definitely look forward to, I'll come in towards the end of the session to round it up when we're done. So Mr. Femi is going to take it up right now. And please make comments in the chat room. He will take you through the standard. We expect it to be a very interactive class. Make your comments, say the things you need to say, ask questions. Mr. Femi does quality health and safety and environment for a living. This is what he does for multiple organizations in different locations across the country and even in Ghana. So he's not reading from a textbook. He will share his professional thoughts and his opinion around this. Same thing with Mr. Damilare that will come up when Mr. Femi is done. Damilare does this for a living. He supports different organizations, including banks, around those three standards, and they will also bring their professional experience to bear. Once again, thank you very much, everyone, and a big thank you to Promise for organizing this session, and we hope to build a profitable relationship with each of you and your organizations even into the future. Once again, thank you very much, everyone. Over to you, Mr. Femi Folorunso. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Lando. Thank you for that introduction. Good morning, everyone. Good morning once again. My name is Femi Folorunso, like I've been rightly introduced, right? So, of course, just like what Doctor said, we're going to have this into two groups. So I would be handling group one, which speaks more to the quality, health, safety, and environment section. All right, so just like what Doctor said, I would like this section to be very, very much interactive, right? We know there are several limitations to virtual engagement, but even at that, I would like this to be very, very much interactive. We're going to be making use of a chat box very well, so ensure that you are glued to your screen. And I want to believe in this next few hours. You'll be able to point to one or in fact a lot that you must have learned from this section. And I think there's another juicy offer coming with this, the foundational certificate that Dr. promised. All right, so that's like a toppings for you. All right, so quickly without wasting time, just permit me to share my screen. All right. So why the training is going on, you can please, if you have any question, just jot it down. So after the training, there will be room for question and answer before we go into group two. So just type your question in the chat box and then I'll be able to take them one by one, right? Okay, please, can anyone confirm this? You can see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right, let me put it in presentation.
Yes, we can.
All right. Okay. All right, thank you. I see all your chat. All right, so quickly for the sake of those that are just hearing ISO for the first time. All right, so what's ISO? What's ISO? Probably you've seen some products, been to the market, you see the right ISO 9001 certified, ISO 22000 certified. Oh, so this product is so satisfied, this organization is so certified. So what does ISO really mean? ISO is International Standards Organization, or International Organization for Standardization. So what do they do? Apparently, ISO, it's an independent organization. It's an independent organization that basically develop management system standards for industry and specific functional areas. They have their head office in Geneva, Switzerland, and they are represented across the globe. They are represented across the globe via accreditation, certification body, and so on and so forth, right? It's an NGO organization. All right, so let's delve into a little history about ISO so that I can have a better understanding. So ISO was founded in 1947 by a group of delegates across 25 countries. So what is the essence? It's just to say that, if organization is producing this in Nigeria, it must be of the same standard and quality across all the globe. So that's why they have put together a lot of standards to guide organization, to guide industries, different sector, that we're going to do this. You can do it in this manner, you can do it in this regard to ensure global quality, to ensure global compliance, and all that as regards it. So we have over 22,000 standard. So today we have over 22 ISO standard. So name it any. I used to tell people. So whatever sector, whatever industry, whatever organization you find yourself, trust me, there will always be an ISO standard for it, right? So the common ones we are familiar with are the few ones you see on your screen. I mean, that's we are going to be dealing with today. The likes of 9001, the likes of 14,001, 45,001, 27,001, 20,000. We have for food safety, we have for energy, we have for asset management, we have for facility. We quite have a whole lot of them, even for risk, for internal risk, and all that. But for the purpose of this engagement, this webinar, we're going to be focusing the 6 standard that Dr. talked about, right? So quickly, another beauty of this is that you can integrate these standards together and call it IMS, Integrated Management System. All right, just like you can see what I have on my screen. All right, please, I hope my screen is moving. If you have any issue, just please put it in the chat box. Right, so we have like I was saying, so you can combine some of the standard, just like we have the QHSE, so that's quality, health, safety, and environment. All right, so we can integrate this. Why is this possible? So like I said, there are some areas of the standard that are similar, while there are areas that are totally different, like the clause 8 of the standard is totally different from one another. But some other clauses and some clauses of the standard are the same. I know a lot of people are curious as what do I mean by clauses? Of course, just when we get there, you understand better what I mean by clauses. All right, so of course, this just this just a pictorial view of the committees that come together in 1947 across 25 countries to develop the some of these ISO standards. All right. So quickly, everybody in the chat box, if you're on the call, so go to the chat box now. So these are few carriers in HSC and QHSC. So it's not limited to this. I just put this together for the purpose of this webinar. So everyone, quickly, which of these carrier do you want to? Probably, I don't know if you are already practicing any of this before. If there is, what let me just see what are your top 3 carriers from what I have on the screen. Quickly, everybody in the chat box. Can you go to the chat box? And I want your responses. Your top 3 from what I have here on the screen. What are your top 3 carriers as regards QHSC? Everybody, I'm waiting. Go to the chat box and just type it there. What are your top 3? I'm waiting. All right. What are your top 3? The top 3. Okay, Doris. Okay, Doris, you're saying it's not clear. So what's not clear? So I have this carrier on my screen. Can you see my screen? Okay, Richard, you are a compliance officer. All right. So which of these carrier we also want to explore? Which of these? You're a compliance officer already. Good. I want more responses. Yes. So Doris, I'm just asking your top 3 careers. What are your top 3 like that you love most from what I have here on my screen? Your top 3 careers. All right, Richard is saying enterprise risk manager. Cool. That's cool. That's actually going on. Where is everybody? Veronica. All right. Okay, Martis is saying quality assurance officer or manager, right? Can I have more responses? Yeah, what are your top 3 careers? What are your top 3 careers from what I have on the screen? All right, okay, so this is just to show you the importance of this webinar that you are doing, right? So this can actually push you to what will continually bring to food for the table. And what you can call this is your livelihood. If you actually take, all right, 14,001 lead auditor and implementer. Okay, risk analyst, Whitney, thank you. All right, so if I really want you to pay attention to this webinar, and this will lead you to, okay, thank you, G Valente, safety compliance. So this will actually guide you and lead you. It will make you see area where you can pick interest in and pursue your career as regards that. There are beautiful careers here. There are a lot of beautiful careers here. There are a lot. Everybody are talking about ESG, environmental, social governance. Everybody's talking QHSE manager, of course, quality assurance. And the beauty of this is that every organization, almost every organization needs most of the career that we have here. So that's just the beauty of it. So wherever you find yourself, of course, I don't think there's no organization that does not want the quality assurance officer or manager, either assurance or control, you know, of course, quite a lot of them, a whole quite a lot of them. Right. So quickly, let's move on. Let's move on. Yeah. So again, everybody in the chat box, what's understanding about quality? Like I said, I want this section to be very, very interactive. Thank you for those that have responded. So for those that have not responded, what do you understand by quality? Just in your own understanding, what do you understand by quality? When I say quality, when we talk about quality, quality, of course, everybody on this call must have heard of quality before in one way or the other. So what's your understanding about quality? Just your own understanding. All right. So what's your understanding about quality? Everybody. Something of good standard, Martins. Thank you. Something Martin says, something of good. All right. Kingsley, anything that can stand the test of time. Wow. That's brilliant. That's cool. Yes. Can I have more? One more. Can I have one more? Can I have one more? Can I have one more? Everybody go to the chat box now and drop your understand. Yeah, Richard is saying quality is meeting the required standard. All right, quick, that's good. Of set standard, required standard, and all that. So from every of our explanation and understanding, you see that a lot of people begin to talk about. Just let me take. Okay, thank you, Ernest. Ernest saying ensuring something is drawn properly. Thank you. Approved standard. Casey, thank you, Casey. All right. So that's beautiful. Those are brilliant explanation, and that's cool. Right. So everybody so actually speaking towards one side. You say standard, requirement, criteria. That is it. So, for instance, let's say uh NS got a gadget, let's say laptop, computer, and me, I don't really know. Let's assume I don't really have any understanding about laptops. I don't, I just look at the shape and the look of the laptop, and I said excellence. So that thank you, George. And I said, oh, this is good, this is excellence. And an IT person that have very good understanding of laptop that check the NS laptop. I know check the specifications, check the processing and all that, and realize that, oh, this laptop is just beautiful. The specification is actually low, maybe Core i3, and all that. So I may have rated it, let me rate this 90%. And someone, an IT specialist, oh, this will not do a lot of, not do a lot of things. I'm going to rate this 30. And I'll be like, this person is wicked. Why are you rating it 30? So what's the difference between us? So somebody has actually checked that laptop computer against certain criteria, against certain specifications. So that's the difference between two of us. So I was able to say, okay, this is good, this is bad. I was able to measure it qualitatively and say, and this is, I'm going to rate this 30 based on the specification of this computer. For me, that I mean, novice, I don't know anything about laptops. I just look at the look and, I say this is 90%. So that's what quality means. So quality is the degree to which a set of inherent characteristics of an object fulfills requirement. Again, quality is the degree to which a set of inherent characteristics of an object fulfills requirements. All right. Okay. Then we can say something an item is poor, is good, or excellent based on the level at which it fulfills those requirements. Right. So quickly, we can also say that quality is equivalent to the degree of excellence. Quality is equivalent to the degree of excellence. And when we talk about excellence, we're talking about competence, we're talking about innovation, we're talking about passion, we're talking about service, satisfaction, motivation, and the likes, right? Okay, so a lot of people used to ask me this question a lot, when I visit different organizations. A lot of people have actually said, oh, so if we implement this ISO now, so what's the importance? Are we getting monetary value? And I laughed, I laughed because they're actually getting value. All right. So everybody, quickly look at everybody. Look at what I have on the screen. This business objective that I have on the screen. Do you think there's any of this business objective that An organization we don't want to achieve, a profitable organization, not an NGO now. We don't want to achieve. Is there any? Is there any? Do you think there is an organization that would not want to optimize their revenue, or manage their costs, customer excellence process? Do you think, okay, thank you, Doris? No, actually. So if quality, if QHSC is helping you, so not just quality. Thank you, Richard. Richard is saying no. All right. So it's QHSC. One of the beauty of this is that QHSC, even ITGRC that my other colleague Damlar is going to take, will help you to address and achieve all of these things. So it's not limited. Business object is not limited to what I have on the screen. So I just have to put this together for the purpose of this webinar. All right. Of course, there is no organization that will not want to, like I said earlier, not want to optimize their revenue. Right. It's not like they want to pay salaries. They don't struggle to pay salaries. You want your profit to increase year in, year out, right? You want to manage costs, And I told people, so cost management is actually different from, thank you, Oji. So Oji is saying, no, like I would love to. Of course, so cost management is actually different from cost reduction, right? Totally different, right? So you can be reducing costs at the expense of quality. But when you are doing cost management, you must ensure that while we are also trying to reduce costs, quality is not jeopardized. Quality is not jeopardized. So when quality is going up, cost is going down. That's the essence of cost management. All right, customer excellence. Oh, one of the best form of advertisement is mouth to mouth. And this can only happen when your customer are happy. They can they can fight for you when you are not paying them. Anyway, so let me give you a perfect example right there on this call. Let me say I've tried a particular product and I'm telling you, oh, I tried this product and all that, and I love it. Oh, this is what I have done for my. Do you know? Of course, everybody on this call might not want to agree with me, but I'm very confident that about 60-70% we're going to say, oh, this product that this man talked about, let me give it a try. In fact, out of the remaining 30, when they get home, they were like, oh, and it might not be bad though, and I can give it a trial. So, and that particular manufacturer, that company produce that product, has not paid me a dime, but I've helped them to advertise. And this can only happen when your customer are happy, when the experience, when there is thorough and true customer excellence. So it's important that you satisfy your customer. In fact, one of the before now in the 208 version of the ISO 9001 standard, the only interested parties are the customer. But now the 2015 version has extended it to the employee, regulators, and many others, right? So customer is very key, especially when it comes to quality. QMS, quality management system, takes customer very, very serious. That is why it is mandatory for every organization to conduct what we call the customer satisfaction survey, have your benchmark target, see whether you're fully target. Even when you meet up with your target, for areas that you're not doing well, right? You need to, engage them, know how you can improve on that, and of course, confirm how you can serve your client or your customer better, right? Process improvement, yeah, of course, this is another. In fact, if you are one of the strongest area where you can pick career in this is being a process improvement expert. Oh, a process improvement expert earns a whole lot of money. All right, but we are not having that conversation right now. All right, so to improve all your processes, to ensure synergy of the processes, to optimize your processes, product innovation, regulatory compliance. Of course, organizations do not want to pay fine, right? You want to comply comply with all your regulatory and statutory bodies, right? People management and even engagement, right? Everybody must be involved. That's why clause 5.4 of the occupational health and safety standard and the environmental standard talks about worker participation and consultation. They must be consulted. Everybody must participate. It's important. It's something that is with life and all that. And of course, sustainability. We're talking about sustainability. There is no organization that does not want to be sustainable. So, in fact, these 8 things have actually summarized the entirety of the standard. Yeah, so that also principles of the quality management system. I've talked about customer focus, how important everyone should treat their customer and their client. Leadership. Oh, I'm still coming back to this, leadership is very, very important. Leadership is very, very important. So if any organization is going to, is going to move forward, if implementation and all this of this standard is going to be effective and efficient, leadership is very key. And that's why clause 5.1 of the standard talks about leadership and commitment. Leadership and commitment. All right. So I'll quickly show you the standard. We want to get there. All right. Leadership and commitment. So engagement of people, I've talked about the process approach, ensuring you optimize your processes, synergy of processes, improvement. You must always identify area of improvement. It is not a casting stone. That I tell people you cannot do ISO and not improve, either as an organization or even as an individual, except if you are doing something that's not ISO. You cannot be certified ISO. You cannot practice ISO as a person, and your whole lifestyle, the entirety of your life will not improve. It's not possible. It is not possible because it will be part of you naturally. It will be part of you. So you actually cannot do ISO, and you yourself will not improve, right? Improvement in all areas. Improvement in that's why it's not a one-off thing. There must be continuous improvement. Clause 10.3 of the standard talks about that. Improvement in all areas. Improvement as regards people, improvement as regards processes, improvement as regards assets, equipment, tools, methods, machines, and all areas. Improvement. Then, of course, evidence-based decision making. A whole lot of people, what do, they don't, people do fantastic things. So one of the things that this will also help you to address is adequate record keeping, and that's what evidence-based decision making is talking about. All right. So I want to say, I send money to somebody, I'm just giving that as an example. What's the evidence? My exam will be received, right? So evidence. Everything you do, you must have that consciousness that, I need to keep evidence. I need to keep a record of all these things that I do, right? Relationship management, of course, you need to talk about it. You need to manage relationship either internally or externally. Manage relationship with all stakeholders, the employee, the board of directors, and all that. Right. Okay. So quickly, let me jump to OHS, operational health and safety. All right. So OHS, these are some OHS issues that I have here, right? The falls, like hazard, falls, machines, confined space, noise, temperature, electricity, and all that. All right. So I want to quickly look at hazardous events. So what are hazardous events? The event that can actually cause injury or ill health. Hazardous event that can cause injury or ill health. Example of potentially hazardous event in explosion, implosion, collision, vibrations, fire leaks, and all the likes. And quickly, let me just move in. We have different types of other. We have the physical one, we have the chemical, we have the biological, and we have the psychological aspects of hazard. So quickly, everyone go to the chat box. All right. So of course, I said this section. It's going to be very engaging and interactive. So we're doing this together. So I want to believe you will not get tired of me saying that you should go to the chat box. So quickly, can you identify any hazardous activity here? Can you identify? Can you everybody go to the chat box? Just type in there. Anyone, can you identify anyone? What's the activity? What's the hazardous activity? Right? Quickly. Everyone, quickly. Spill. All right, water spill. All right, thank you. Martins, slippery floor. Yes. Anybody else? Yes. Yeah, we have more than spill now. So what else? What else? Yes, I'm waiting. Everybody go to the chat box. Everybody go to the chat box. Everybody. Yes. Richard, yeah, trip from CS. Yes. All right. So noise hazard. Yes. Thank you, Casey. Noise hazard. Can see that noise. Thank you, Victoria. Can see that look at that image of ear and the speaker close to the ear, so it can damage the ear, make people not to hear again, to be deaf, to be done. Noise hazard. Yes. Can see that electrical spark there too. It hazard, yes. You can see the electrical spark there too. You can see that young man going into that confined space. All right. So these are unsafe acts and unsafe condition, right? On electrocution, yes, of course. Joe, thank you. Electrical spark, thank you, Samuel. All right, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. All right, so these are just examples of hazardous activity, right? Okay, so yes, other safety areas, vibrating the machinery, the lightning, right? The air pressure can also cause work-related illness and injury. So we're just looking at several areas. The asphyxiation, also known as suffocation, right? Thank you, Okwelu, as the people. Also known as suffocation means to die from lack of oxygen. So that man going to a confined space that, that doesn't have enough oxygen can actually die there. Consider they are tying rope on his leg in that previous picture, trying to bring him out. So the essence of all this is we're saying to identify hazardous activity and avoid them. Avoid them. We're still going to look at controls of some of these hazards and avoid these hazardous activities. Of course, the musculoskeletal disorder are like avoided by employment of good ergonomic design and the reduction of repeated strenuous movements or lift. A lot of us where we're seated, our office chairs are not good again. And we don't complain to our HR. And you realize that people's body posture has been adjusted. All right. These are things that you need to take cognizance of, right? A lot of people work with the laptops almost 20 hours daily, and you don't learn to either use safety glasses or take off a high for 5 minutes at every 1 hour. All right, these are some of the measures that. All right, Casey, I think it's from your side. The network is from your side. All right, okay. All right, so these are just a few areas of hazard that I would like to identify. Of course, again, so quickly look at the common health and safety issue, manual handling. When you carry, people that are used to carrying loads, you can see the implication. Heavy loads, load that are supposed to be carried by either forklift or some other equipment that needs to be used. No, I can do it. You can see the implication at on your vertebrae and your spinal cord. You can see the different, you can see for the normal, you can see the actual shape, you can see the discs and the vertebrae. You can see our spine is made up of vertebrae separated by disc. This disc act as shock absorbers, right? You can see for even load. Yes, even though it's even, but the load is too much. You can see for uneven, you can see, and for torsion load, you can see it for yourself. A different illustration to see how vertebrae work under various loads, All right, so let's quickly talk about hierarchy of control of this risk and hazard. All right, so a lot of people, when I ask them, they say, yes, use PP, use PP. I can see from the control, I used to tell people, PP should be the least thing you think of. Am I discouraging the use of PP? No, it's important to use PP, right? So when we talk about hazard, all these things has to do more about humans. It has to do more about humans, right? To do more about humans. So the first thing in your mind that is to physically remove that hazard, eliminate it. Is it possible? All right. Is it possible not to walk in that area? Is it possible not to find another area where you can walk? Must you do that walk in that particular hazardous area? All right. To totally remove whatever that can cause the hazard. All right. Okay, then from elimination, we can go to substitution and say that, can we replace it with, can we replace this with something that is less hazardous, that will not cost more, that can, so in terms of equipment now, in terms of whatsoever it is, can that be a replacement? That's another control that might be looked at. And of course, engineering control, isolate people from the hazard. Okay, so this area is, you can see that people say, this dangerous zone, this hazardous area, people should not work in this area. Isolate people, or better still, get a better equipment and all that. Administrative control is train people, change the way people work, can train them, to be more conscious, to be on the lookout, to 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 be more careful while they are working. And the last, which is the least effective, is PPE, personal protective equipment. Protect the worker with personal protective equipment. So, like I said, the first thing as an health and safety person is that elimination. Elimination. How can we get rid of this totally? How can we get rid of this totally? All right. Okay. So, let's talk about EMS, environmental management system. All right, environmental management system. So when we talk about environment are surrounded by these things that I have. Of course, the three major components of environment are land, water, and air. But a lot of people pay attention to only land, air, and water. But it is. Hello, can you please mute your mic? All right. Okay, thank you. All right. So the like I said, so not people focus only land and water alone. All right. So when we talk about environment, we also want to talk about humans, the human beings that live in that particular environment. We want to talk about the flora. Flora essentially something means the plant life in that environment. We must also consider that. And fauna. Fauna is the animal life in that environment. So all these things must be considered as an environment specialist or expert when why organizations are into whatever they are doing. So quickly, I said that these three basic things. You can see what I have said. Our EMS design should balance society need with economic development. All right, with the benefit of sustainable economic development, right? All right. So when we talk about environment, when we talk, a good EMS should focus these three things: sustainable development, the real SDG, the real sustainable development is when we are able to balance these three pillars, right? Environment, society, and economy. But it's a pity that a lot of people focus on the aspect of the economy at the expense of the environment and society, right? I was seeing one documentary a long time ago. I know a lot of us, I don't know if you've seen it, some people on the call might have seen it before. I think it was in Dubai or where they are building a palm island of water, right? And that can accommodate about accommodate about I think 120,000 people, right? And the process of doing that, when they've done it, they're about completing it, and they realize that it's going to have, if it's affecting aquatic life in the water, because when it comes in, there's no much space to breathe and all that. It begins to die. So they have to restructure, right? So what everything organization does, a good EMS design should take less from the environment and dispose less to the environment. Take less from the environment and dispose less to the environment. I think Lagos State just, I'm not, I've heard from someone and that has instructed that all these plastic spoons should not be used again and all that, because some of these things are what is people just throw the way they dispose it and not well dispose, and they just throw it in drainage and started blocking drainage and leads to flooding and all that. So these are things that we need to take note of, right? So sustainable development again should capture these three basic things. So environment, the society at large. So whatever we are doing, even when we're focusing on economy, we want to make profit, we want to, so how is going to affect the environment, how is going to affect the society. All this must be put into consideration. All this must be put into consideration. So of course, the most significant concern of EMS is pollution. Pollution, the land pollution, the water pollution, the air pollution, any form of pollution. Organization must be concerned, right? Like I said, good EMS should take less from the environment and also dispose less to the environment. Those two things. Take less from the environment, dispose less to the environment, right? So the most significant concern of EMS is pollution, the land pollution, the water pollution, air pollution, any form of pollution. So everyone must ask ourselves, in what way are how have you helped the environment? How have you helped sustainability? How polluted our environment? How have you helped the society? How have we helped these three basic things that I've talked about: the human, the fauna, and of course the flora. All right. So introduction of contaminant into the environment in excess level that cause harm or discomfort to humans or other living organisms, or that damage the environment in the form of chemical substances or energy such as noise, heat, or light. So that's just a simple definition of pollution. A simple definition of pollution. Of course, like I said, an effective EMS should protect the environment by preventing or mitigating adverse environmental impact, mitigate the potential adverse effect, and all that. I must achieve financial and operational benefit that can result from implementation of EMS, right? Okay, so quick one. Let's get into the classes of the standard now. So basically, there's what we call the main clauses standard and the sub clauses of standard. So for the three standard, so we have 10 main clauses. 9,001, 45,001, 14,001. I believe we all know what 9,001 means. That's EMS, quality management system. 45,001, that's operational health and safety. And then 14,001, that's environmental management system, right? So like I said, we have the 10 main clauses. And what are they? So number one is scope. Number two is normative reference. Number three is terms and definition. Number four is context of the organization. Number five is leadership. Number six is planning. Number seven, support. Clause eight, operation. Clause nine, performance evaluation. Clause 10, improvement. All right, so these are the 10 main clauses for this three standard. All right, it's common to many of the other standard too, right? So again, like I said, so one of the reasons why it's possible to do more than implement or even know more than one standard as an individual, to know more than one standard, as an organization to implement more than one standard, is that there's some of the subclasses of this standard that are similar, while some are totally different. So now you can see the clauses I was quoting the other time, say clause 1, clause 5, 4, 3, and all that. So, all right, so let's get into more of the subclasses. Let's get into more of the subclasses. So quickly, let me say the first three standard, the first three clauses of the standard, I call them the introductory clauses. I call them the introductory clauses. That's the clause 1, which is scope, the clause 2, which is a normative reference, and the clause 3, which is terms and definition. I call them the introductory clauses. Why are they introductory? Because they just kind of introduce the standard. The core requirements of the standard are actually in clause 4 to 10. Again, the core requirement of the standard are in clause 4 to 10. So of course, clause 1, scope of the standard of the QMS, of the OHS, of the EMS itself, normative reference. Of course, there are some journals, there are some, books that are actually referencing writing the standard. Then the terms and definition, there will be some terminology that you, the person might not understand, so adequate definitions will actually be provided. But the core requirement, don't forget, when we're defining quality and all that the other time, we said the extent to which a set of the characteristics of an object fulfills requirement, right? So that means there's a requirement, that means there's a criteria, that means there are standards that needs to be made before we can say that uh, a thesis of good quality or we're practicing a good QHSE, right? Okay, so you can see what I have here. I've splitted the main clauses into different group, what I call the PDCA, the plan, do, check, act. Again, the plan, do, check, act. So I say you're saying that plan what you do according to plan, do as you have planned, check what you have done, and then act on the area of improvement, act on the outcome. Again, I repeat, plan what you do according to plan, as planned, check what you have done, and act on the outcome accordingly. right? Plan, do, check, act. PDCA. Plan, do, check, act. All right. So of this PDCA, I was talking about leadership the other time. So can you all see where do you have, okay, tell me where do you have the leadership and what's happening to that leadership? You can see different arrows as one arrow is going out, the other arrow is coming in. One arrow is going out, the other arrow is coming in. Quickly, who can tell me what is happening? What does those arrows represent? So when we talk about leadership, of course, this is a class, so we are here to learn. All right, everybody go to the chat box. Everybody to the chat box, chat box, chat box, chat box. All right. So everybody, let's go to the chat box. So yeah, what do you think this arrow is representing? When we talk about leadership, in your understanding, what do you think this arrow represents? Feedbacks, please. Very good round of applause for Casey. That's very good. Casey, yeah, feedbacks. That means the one coming back. That in fact, I'm impressed, Casey. I'm clapping for you already. That's very good. Feedbacks. That's fantastic. Yeah. Okay. So what about the arrow that is going out? So the one coming back, feedback. So about the one going out? Yes. Chat box. Yes. 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 Let's go to the chat box. Yes. Top and down words, Richard is saying top and down words approach. Sorry, Richard didn't capture that properly. All right, everybody, yes, to the chat box, everybody. Responsibilities, yes, responsibilities. Providing resources and giving direction. Brilliant. Richard, Kingsley, Casey, all of you, thank you. That is brilliant. That's a brilliant response. All right, so you can see, yes, leadership. One of the key things that leadership need to provide is strategic direction. Strategic direction. Imagine an organization without no direction, without no strategy, without no, and you're existing, no focus, nothing, you are just there. It's not going to make sense. I say you want to optimize your revenue. How will that happen? Right? Okay. So yes, providing strategic direction, appointing rules. Raman, thank you, Raman. I think this is the first time you'll be speaking strategic changes and helping. Thank you. So yes, appointing roles and responsibilities. All right, appointing roles, responsibility, and also giving authority, because when you appoint rules and responsibility, you did not give adequate authority to execute those responsibilities. Is as much as not doing anything, right? Appoint rules, set policies, set guidelines, approval, and most importantly, provide what I call the 5 M's of management resources. 5 M's of management resources. Feedback loops, yes, 5 M's of management resources. Martins from MTN Nigeria. 5 M's for management resources. So what are those 5 M's? Anybody? Any idea? 5 M's of management resources? Yes. Start box. 5 M's of management. What are those 5 M's of management resources? Anybody? Anybody go to chat box? Everybody go to, what are 5 M's? What's your understanding? Just mention anyone that you know. Anyone. 5 M's of management resources. All right. Anybody, 5 M's of, okay. Like, let me just get there. I think I should have it on my slide. Yeah, right. So these are the 5 M's of management resources. So you have the money, you have the manpower, you have the material, you have the machines, and the method. 5 M's of management. So this also one of the things very, very important that leadership needs to provide. All right. If any organization is going to move forward, if any organization is going to be successful, if implementing or driving up this ISO standard, even the one that my other colleague Damnari is going to take you through, this is actually very, very much important. Actually, very, very much important. All right. Okay. So yeah. So let's move on. Yeah. So these are the subclauses. Don't forget, I told you that the core requirement of the standard and clause 4 to 10, and that's why you have consider, that's why this is starting from clause 4 to 10. So apart from the main clauses, like I told you, we also have the subclauses. You can see clause 4, 4.1, understanding the context of the organization. 4.2, understanding the needs and expectations. So essentially, so what 4.1 is actually saying that, so like I said, let me quickly show you before start breaking it down, right? So you can see, like I said, that some of this for QMS, this for quality, and this is for uh seconds. Please, can you see my screen? All right. Okay, good. Thank you. All right. So this is for occupational health and safety and environment. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So this for occupational health and safety and this for quality. You can see that there are some of these subclasses that are the same. See the 4.1 to 4.4. See the, excuse me, for 9001. You can see the same for 12,001, 14,000. And that's the beauty. That's why I say you can know more than one, right? You can know more than one. And that's why doctors advise you to pay adequate attention to the six entire. So don't say, oh, I'm done with my own group. Now I want to leave and on. Pay attention to the entire six standard. It's a plus for you. And now that you're even going to get some sort of certificate, I think you should give thumbs up to Training Right for organizing this webinar. All right, that's on the side. Right. So yes, 4.1 is talking about identifying, understanding the context of the organization. What is the context, the vision, the mission, and most importantly, the internal and external issues. The internal and external issues. Some of the tools, the business model you can use in identify this is what I call the SWOT analysis and the PESTU analysis. The SWOT analysis, the PESTU analysis. We also have the balance scorecard. We have the Canva, business Canva. We have a whole lot of business models that can be used. So, of course, SWOT, we all know what SWOT is saying, the strength, the weakness, the opportunities and threat. Every organization needs to, outline and align this. Of course, the PESTU, the political, the economic, the social, the technology, the legal, and the environment. All right. So, need to identify issues as regards these areas, as regards this area. Of course, understanding the needs and expectation of your interested parties. Who are your interested parties, right? Like you said, your stakeholders, board of directors, your clients, your customers, they are your interested parties. Even you as the employee of your organization, you are also an interested party to your organization, because without you, the organization will not move on. Interested parties, anyone that have one or two interested one way or the other in what the organization does, either internally or externally. All right. So what the standard says is saying that you need to identify these interested parties and their needs and expectation. All right, their needs and expectation. For instance, what do you think will be a need and expectation of customer or client? Is what quality service, timely delivery, you know, uh reasonable price. Also, these are some of the expectations, and you must ensure that you are meeting them. Again, don't forget one of the principles of quality management: evidence-based decision making. So while you are doing all this, it is important that you keep adequate record and evidence to show that this has been done. All right. So determine the scope. All right. Scope, you need to determine the scope of your standard, either QMS, either OHS, either 14,001. For instance, some organizations might have like outside the head office, might have like other 14 branches. So you can decide that, oh, the scope will only be for this HQ, the other 14 branches are excluded from the scope. And you can't just say that without providing adequate justification. You must also know that. So scope as regards location, scope as regards people, scope as regards assets, subsidiaries, equipment, scope. Everything must be captured in your scope. Even within the head office might say that, oh, the scope will only be within for certain processes, right? So you need to clearly define your scope. And of course, QHSC and its processes. So you need to identify the relevant processes and of course show the interaction between those processes. What are the interaction? At a glance, some organization call it process diagram. At a glance, I must be able to see that, oh, what organization does from beginning, a summary of what the interaction process that, oh, if this leave this place is going to this place, it's linking up to the other place, and all that, and so on and so forth, right? So when we talk about leadership, Talk about leadership and commitment. I've addressed that. Policy. You need to set policy, your QHSC policy, your college policy, your OHS policy, your what's it called? Your environmental policy. Set policy around this that also guides your business, that speak to what your business does. All right. Essentially, the policy, good policy should speak to your commitment in satisfying your customer, your commitment to environment in such a way that you keep the environment clean, adequate, and not pollute the environment. All right. OHS, your commitment to health and safety of your staff and everyone, even your contractors, everyone within the organization. All right. So, uh, uh, organizational rules, responsibility, and authorities. So, like I said, so one of the things, one of the like that arrow is showing that leadership does is to appoint roles, give responsibility, and also assign adequate authority to be able to carry out those responsibility. Of course, we want to talk about risk area. So for quality, we'll be talking about process risk. For health and safety, OHS, we're talking about health and safety risks. And for environment, we're talking about risks that are associated to environment. All right. So there are different risk response might decide to accept risk, organization might decide to share risk, organization might decide to reject risk, organization might decide to transfer risk. All right. Now, for instance, now example of accept, of course, accept is when you accept. So example of sharing risk is a lot of you that insure your car now. I mean, I'm not talking about the normal for our for Nigeria folks, not the normal insurance, the normal 50, I think it's 15,000 and 15,000 insurance, those ones. Those ones. But when you insure your car and all that, when your car, that's like sharing the risk to the case that, oh, this car should got damage or anything happens to it, so that I can, at least collect certain percentage of money based on the level of insurance, either premium or whatever that you have done on your car. So that's like sharing the risk. The same thing for organization. So transfer risk is like an organization get a portion of the business, get a business and outsource the entirety of the business to another organization. That's more like you transfer. Oh, I just transfer the risk. Rejecting risk is saying that, oh, you don't want venture into that business sector at all because of the risks that are involved and all that. So that different risk response. All right, quickly, let me just show you. All right, like I said, so this is just like a summary of the risk management process. Like you identify risk, you assess risk, you control it and review controls, right? You identify the risk. What are the risks associated to your business or your organization, to yourself? Then you assess the risk. That's what we call risk rating. That's what we call risk rating. How do you do risk rating? How do you assess risk? But risk rating is like probability multiplied by consequence. Or some people will even say likelihood multiplied by severity or impact. It's just grammar. So it actually means the same thing, of course. So when you assess the risk, the importance of assessing the risk is to know the level of impact in your organization, on your process. All right. Then that will guide you on the next action to take. Of course, you must have a risk framework or risk methodology where you will define your approach to your risk. So it's not every organization have their approach. All right. So there you define your approach, the kind of risk you're accepting, the kind of risk matrix you want to use. I'll show you an example of a matrix, kind of risk matrix you want to use, and so on and so forth, right? So you have different matrix. You have a 5x5 matrix, a 4x4, we have a 3x3. So anyone you desire to adopt in your organization. Then after assessing the risk, you want to provide adequate control to, don't forget, so for quality, you might be saying that we want to reduce because it's a process risk. You might be saying we want to reduce it to the barest minimum to low. You can say, okay, low is acceptable. But for health and safety, hazard, risk and hazard, the first thing that should come to your head is elimination, not reduction, right? Because that has to do with life. So it's to eliminate. You must eliminate. You must eliminate. I've shown you the hierarchy of control. You must eliminate. All right. And of course, after putting all those control in place, then you review the controls, whether they're effective or not. So it's advisable that risk are being reviewed quarterly so that you have very active and effective risk management. Risk management process. All right. So I don't know if you can see my screen. This like I can see the likelihood and the consequence. This is like an example of a risk matrix. So this is a 5 by 5. You can see on my likelihood I have a scale of 1 to 5. On my consequence, I also have a scale of 1 to 5. Right. So that this is an example of a 5 by 5 risk matrix. All right. This is another example. You can see matrix 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. And this is the way you can see. This is saying that when you have this red, when you have this color coding, it's immediate action priority. And with that means it's critical, it's dangerous. In fact, some organizations will say that report to the board directly. So when you're from your assessment, from your rating, if you have this kind of score for color coding, and risks that fall in this line, so action, different action that needs to be taken. So this is saying that urgent, ASAP, after immediate, urgent. So this is just an example, just as a sample of how some organizations have, have decided to approach their own risk. So this is saying plan. I need to plan for the actions, and this is saying for consideration. All right. So different approach to risk. All right. So let's say, for instance, we identify a risk of as regards regulatory compliance. All right. So what's the risk involved in regulatory compliance? When you did not comply, let's say probably you were supposed to let me say FRS now for folks in Nigeria. All right. So FRS, Federal Inland Revenue Service. All right. So you're supposed to pay tax, pay tax as a 20, it's a risk. So there will be penalty and all that. So the likelihood, what's the possibilities? All this must have been defined in your framework. All right. When can it be 1? When can it be 2? When can it be 3, 4, 5, and all that? So let's say the likelihood is maybe from past occurrence is 2, and the if it happens, it's of course it cannot be negligible. It's going to be major or catastrophic. All right, let's say major. So 2 times 4 is 8. So 8 is saying that particular risk is high from what I have here on my screen. So that's just a simple example of risk assessment. I think I'll be able to do good justice to that. All right. So for objective, future objective. So this is saying that you need to identify your you need to set objectives, smart objectives. What do I mean by smart? Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. All right. So a lot of people, when I visit organization, I say, show me your objective. Say, achieve customer satisfaction. That is not objective. That's not a smart objective. All right. Because yes, of course, it's specific. It's speaking to us customer satisfaction. Is it measurable? No. Is it achievable? Well, the process will now be able to tell. Is it realistic? Of course, the process will now also be able to tell. Is it time bound? No. But if I say achieve at least 70% customer satisfaction at the end of the financial year or at the end of the fiscal year and all that. So that's a smart objective. It's measurable. Towards our target, we're looking at 70%. When are we to come and measure? At the end of the financial year. So that's it. You must set up and also provide adequate plans to achieve them. Part of your planning is when you're talking about the 4 W's and the 1 H, the where, the why, the what, the who, right? So what resources will be needed? How do you want to go about it? Your method of evaluation, the where we can find the records, the who is responsible, and all that. Adequate planning. Of course, planning changes, right? You need to plan changes in different areas, all right? Changes as regards people, changes as regards location. For instance, an organization that is location specific, that what they do is location specific, right? We don't want to go to another location without planning for it adequately. Maybe what you do, you have access to raw materials, quick access to raw materials. Why, if you need to maybe establish another branch and all that, you need to carefully plan, or you need to move. Maybe you have issue with the environment. You need to carefully plan in such a way that it will not affect your business. So that's what planning to use, talking about. All right, and so on. Of course, the resources. Okay, the health and safety also have 5.4. Like talking about consultation and participation of workers. I've said it. Workers must be engaged. Everybody must be involved, right? Everybody in the organization must be involved. Workers must participate. Workers must be able to complain. If your child is not okay, I've said it earlier, meet HR, meet HSC person. Organizations must provide chairs that are economically friendly, that will not destroy people's bodies posture, right? Okay, so let's resources. I'll talk about resources. Competence, this is important. Every organization must be competent at what you do. Every organization must ensure competence. And part of why you are here is also to improve your competence, is to learn, right? And that's where we will be getting some sort of certificate. You do the short exam, some sort of certificate after this, right? Okay, so the awareness aspect, saying you need to do awareness time to time about all this, awareness about the policy, awareness about the objective, and so many other things, right? About the entirety of the standard. Then the communication, you need to communicate to everyone the documented information and all that, right? The glossate, like I said, so every glossate of most standard are different. You can see for quality, this has subclasses from 8.1 to 8.7, and for health and safety, we only have 8.1 and 8.2. All right, so it's where it's the operational aspect. This is where it is different. All right, 8.1 operational planning and control. We need to, of course, okay, I jumped documented information. This is another career area, especially for oil and gas and many other multinationals. A document control lead. In fact, people are getting extremely paid. ISO is sweet. I used to tell people, ISO is sweet. Like I said earlier, you cannot do ISO and not improve. In fact, for people that have attended MBA classes, can bear me witness that the whole lot from these subclasses that MBA topics related to these subclasses. We want to talk about strategy, 4.1, we said 4.1, 4.2 has addressed strategy. We want to talk about change management. We want to talk about risk management. We want to talk about what was it called again? Leadership. I just talked about leadership. So these are topics that are being handled in MBA, all right? And they're embedded in the subclasses of this standard. So apparently, when you attend ISO training like this, in a way, can we say that you are partially MBA? All right. If there's anything like that, just that it is certificate that is not there. All right. So that's just on the light channel. Right. So documented information. So you must ensure that all your documents are controlled in a divine manner that you have agreed to. In a way, you say, okay, this our title will be, this our control number will be, these are sort of approved, these are the authorized approval to social documents and all that. So that's what that place is saying. This is what some people are just doing. This cost 7.5 alone is what some people are doing in their organization, and they're earning millions. Yes, we can go and find out. Document controller, document control lead, and all that. It's all different. They are just doing, and they're earning millions. Just 7.5 for the entire subclasses. All right. So again, 8.1 operational planning and control, and all that. So you need to plan. You need to plan your operations. Those are into production. You need to plan, and after planning, what are the controls that you have put in place? The likes of the QA. That's where the quality assurance comes to place. What are the controls after you have planned? Okay, these are will go. This will move. This carefully plan. What are the controls we put in place to ensure that planning will go well, and to ensure quality, to ensure adequate outcome of whatever you have planned. All right, whatever you have planned, right? So 8.2 for CMS is talking about requirement for products and services. But let me just take that of OHS and 14,000. It talks about emergency preparedness and the response. Emergency preparedness and response. All right. So you need to, it's saying that you need to identify relevant possible emergencies that are associated with your business and your environment. Emergency situations like fire outbreak, like civil unrest, like like water leakages, different emergency situations, flood, and all that. So many of them. depending on the one that relates to what you do. All right. So you need to identify this. This is what the standard is saying. After identifying, then you need to adequately define your procedure guidelines in which you want to use to address all these emergency situations, right? So when you have those procedures in place, people need to be trained first. You need to train people on this procedure should in case of emergency, this are what you do. All right. So when I visit the organization and I see people writing fire exit, I ask them that is it only fire emergency? Why is it fire exit? It should be emergency exit now, not just fire exit. I say it's only fire that can make you jump back. All right. So it's fire. Fire is a common one that people are familiar with, but it should not be only the exits. And when you see people who say emergency exit, they already put freezer, they already put table, they already emergency exit that there's no way through. So should in case, God forbid, any bad scenario, should in case emergency situation should happen, how will people escape? The essence of having exit is escape route. All right. So part of your procedure, emergency plan, all this should have been documented, trained. Then it's also important that you test this procedure that I put in place frequently. Why you testing to know whether the procedure are adequate, and that's what we call drills to conduct emergency drills, right? To check that, oh, let's just, in the event of this happen, let's see people's reaction. You do it can't, then that will help you, one, to know the kind of training you do more, and two, to go back to your drawing board, go back to your procedure and say, oh, I don't think this procedure I put in place is effective again. We need to update, we need to upgrade it. With the way people have reacted, with this has happened, that will happen from your testing. So a lot of people have emergency situation and procedure and they have never tested, they've never done drills. So that's quite dangerous. All right. So 8.2 talks about requirements. So you need to gather requirement from regulatory body, regulatory and statutory body, requirement from the customer, from themselves. So that's why when people want to go into manufacturing of new product and order, or even new businesses, now they do what is called feasibility report. All right, to check for some of these requirements. So every requirement must be met. All right. Then design and development. It is from the requirement that we know, okay, what will be design input, what will be the output, what should we consider, what, from the design, either packaging design, whatever design you are into. All right. And ensure that this is also fulfilling certain requirements. Control of externally provided processes, product, and services. So there might be some sort of some sort of processing that will outsource. You must standard saying that you must ensure adequate control of all these, right? Adequate control of all these processes, of all these product and services. And again, that is your partners, your vendors, your supplier. There must have adequate control in place. What do you mean by control? Is there any criteria for boarding them? When I tell people, and do you evaluate their performance? That's what I place. Do you evaluate their performance? When I ask me, do you do vendor evaluation? And organization, in some organization, they tell me yes. And I asked them, they say, we just send them to send their codes. And we check the one that was the cheapest is the one we go, and I was like, is that evaluation? Well, that is just cost now. The first thing for every organization must, to onboarding, check what are your criteria. The standard is saying, okay, even when you are saying you have got your quality and health and safety and all those things, right? What are the criteria? What have you put in place? And that's why now, specifically in Nigeria, so for other people in Nigeria now, most likely oil and gas, they are not focusing on health and safety alone as requirements. Now they are also concerned about you being certified to 9001 quality management system before they can even partner with you, before you can do business with you, because they must have believed that if you go through the nitty-gritty, the process of implementing that, all the process of 9001, many things they are worried about will be addressed. All right. And that's why they are kind of mandating, is part of their own requirement now for onboarding vendors, onboarding partners, and all that. Right. So that's just the fulfillment to this 8.4, right? So that's part of their own criteria. Then production and service provision. So how do you produces go into production? How do you produce? How do you render your services and all that? What are steps? What are steps involved and all that? Then release of product and services. Release of product and services. So the standard is saying that before you release, after production and all that, there must be adequate check. One, there must be feasibility. There must be adequate check, feasibility on the product. And that's why many of you, when you buy things, when you buy a lot of things in the market, you see manufacturing date, you see batch number, you see some of this. So it's not just for fun, no. They are quite very, very important. When you used to see your production, manufacturing date, batch number, or production date, or what's it called? Um, Expiry date. But you get all those things are very, very important. Even for phones, even for guidance, you see IME numbers, you see they're there. Proper identification and traceability must be done, right? All forms of check must be done, QA, quality assurance, before release to ascertain that this product or these services has actually fulfilled all necessary requirements, right? I remember, I'll use this example. Something that happened with a long time ago, maybe 8, 9, 10 years ago. I can't remember. Samsung produced some set of Galaxy Note or so. So when you plug them, they are so hot, very hot. Then, a very long time ago, they get very. I think one or two even got burnt. I think the feedback got back to Samsung, and they retrieved. So one of the way, one of the way they were able to address it, that they retrieved all the phones in market. How are they able to do this? Because traceability, that's what I'm talking about. Identification and traceability, the IME numbers, the production and all that. So if that has not been in place, how would they be able to just to be able to start returning back to the store? If it's so, if you carry so, I don't know. There are people on the call that still remember that incident. So that's a way of controlling non-conforming products. I've used that to explain 8.6 and 8.7. And of course, while release, that's the importance of traceability. In fact, this is more key in ISO 20000 food safety. One of the requirements of food safety is that you must food safety is that you must do testing, recall testing. You must do recall of your product. You must tell whether, okay, so should in case that this, are we able to recall all that batch, all those things? So we're not doing food safety now. So they're not going to that direction. All right. So again, like you said, then 9.1 talks about performance evaluation. This essentially helps you to check the effectiveness and the efficiency of the standard. All right, monitoring, measurement, analysis, and evaluation. You need to set metrics and you need to measure them, evaluate them to see what you have achieved. Then internal audit, you need to conduct audit internally even before you do audit externally. Then the management review. This is just all form of the check. All right, to ensure that the effectiveness and the efficiency of the standard. All right, then the plus 10 improvement, identifying of improvement, and if there is any form of non-conformity, ensure you close them. So in closing non-conformity, 3 key things are important. You must first of all identify the root cause. What is the root cause? What is the root cause? There are so many tools, techniques to use in identifying the root cause. We have the fishbone techniques. We have the what do we call it now? Skip my mind. Oh my God. But I'll remember later. We have so many techniques. The 5 whys. We have the 5 whys. You continue to ask why, until there is no why to ask again. You get to the root. When I visit organization and and I say what to do, and they tell me it's an oversight. Oversight can never be root cause. All right. So what caused that oversight? Not until you get to the root, you'll not be able to provide adequate corrective action. All right. Of course, there might be correction. Let's say, for instance, my line manager have asked me to do, to require me to do a tax. All right. And it's a tax I must do. And I did not do it. And it discovered that, okay, knowledge gap, the root cause is knowledge gap. I don't have the knowledge as regards that tax. All right. Fine. The manager can quickly appoint somebody to do it at that moment. But that is not the corrective action. The corrective action will actually be that I should be trained on that particular task. So, and again, identify area of continual improvement. I've talked about this. So yes, talked about this already. So again, dimensions of quality, timeliness, completeness, courtesy, consistency, and all right. So this is a process approach. You can see synergy of processes. So once somebody gets input and output from one department will be input to another department. You can see sources of input, then you process the input. It becomes an output to another department. And like that, that's how a correct process model should be synergy, inter relations between department and processes. Processes must be interrelated. So, all right. So quickly, everybody go to the chat box now. As I'm rounding up, everybody go to the chat box. Everybody go to the chat box. You can see what I have on the screen. Everybody in your organization. So, which of this process model do you practice? Everybody go to the chat box. Everybody, which of this process model, do you practice in your own organization? I have one here, I have the other one here. Which of this process do you practice in your own organization? Everybody, quickly, everybody. Do I still have put on the call? Everybody, which of this process do you practice in your own organization? Everybody. Second one, Raman is saying second one. Raman, are you sure? Right? Yes. Any other response? I'm waiting. Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, you can't see my. Let me put it in presentation. Yes. Okay, Raman is saying the second one. Everybody, chat box. Are people still on the call, or we've left our various system? Everybody, I'm still waiting. Yes, Richard, Martins, OG, Ernest. Where are you? Are you still on this call? Are you still on this call? I'm waiting. Which of these do you practice? Which of the process model? Yes. Are we together? Okay, Raman said the second one. I want one more response. Everybody on the call. Where are my participants now? Richard, where are you?
We are
Doris?
here. Oh. I have responded.
All right. Okay. Good. Okay, second one. Good. All right, perfect. Okay, so where's the third one? What tell me next? Where do you see the third one? All right. Okay. So thank you. Yeah. But I don't think you should practice the second one in your organization, right? Why do I say you can see the first one. The first one is a no-no. You can see wall of confusion between development department and operations team, right? They're more like they're even flinging document to each other. I don't think that should be your process model. You can see the second one too, that there's no relationship between each department A, B, C, D. Everybody are just working on their own. OYO on your on your own. And even the head of department and the subordinate, the members of the team members in the department, no relation, they have been partitioned, no relation, no interrelationship, no sort of interrelationship, right? Okay, so this should not also be the process model we practice in our organization. I think this should be the process model we practice. You can see how they are relating, no partitioning, no disturbance, even with their subordinates. This process linkage should be the process across department. We can bring about effective and efficient output. All right. Again, these are possible classification of processes. We have the management processes, the top management processes. That's provision of resources. We have the product service realization. That's more like the operation people, the main process. We have supporting processes such as the IT, the HR, depending on the organization, all right? supporting processes. We have the measuring and monitoring processes. That's the internal control people, the internal audit people, the compliance people, and all that. All right. So yes, this is it. So I don't even know that I have it here. So these are some of the, like I said, some of the topics that have been taken in MBA classes that are found in the requirement of the standard, essentially for ISO 9001 standard. All right. So again, I think I will end here. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for your time. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. All right. So
thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Femi Folorunsho. It's great to an honor to always have you in our session. Thank you for your immense value add and also your knowledge, expert knowledge and opinion around this very interesting standard. Thank you very much, audience, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. As we round up on the first half of the training program, I know in football there's always the first half and the second half. So we're at the end of the first half of this very interesting webinar. A lot of people, it's very interesting that people don't really see the value of GRC in itself, which is governance, risk, and compliance, especially when it comes to ISO standard. Any organization, I dare say, any organization in that there is forward-thinking organization would be practicing one or more of the standard. It's almost impossible for any right-thinking organization not to practice one or more of this standard, which brings out the importance when it comes to job employment, when it comes to job vacancy, when it comes to growth, human capital development. These are very critical areas that is largely lacking when it comes to the job market of today. That's why a lot of GRC people that I have known in my lifetime, I think plenty of them now are either in Canada, in Netherlands. In fact, one of my friends just recently relocated to the Netherlands and currently works with a company there in Netherlands. The company relocated herself and her family all the way to the Netherlands just because of our knowledge in GRC. So this is not to be taken for granted. If you were to come for our class, let's also, as I discuss this, to also thank and applaud Promise for giving the Port-Harcourt audience this very rare opportunity, because if you were to come for a paid session, you will be paying at least 200,000 naira for the training only. Do you hear what I said? 200,000, and that's for one standard only. So it's very important that we really, really take this very seriously. This is our way of giving back to the society, and it would all mean something to us. It would all mean very significant to us if we pay attention to this training program. I do not like to call it webinar. The webinar will probably just like last an hour, but Mr. Femi has I discussed this extensively. So I dare say I want to convert this the terminology from webinar to a training session. So it's very important, and I particularly appreciate those who have contributed in the chat box in this training program. And we hope that, as we come back in the second half of this very interesting, which this second half kind of focuses more on the IT part of the governance, risk, and compliance. Where we'll be talking about the service management, we'll be talking about information security, I'll be talking about business continuity, of course. So this is going to be an explosive one, all right? And I want you all to not only attend, but to also extend this courtesy to other people. People can still register, I believe, Promise. People can still register for this session. 27,001, 20,000 business continuity. Those three standards, I dare say, are the hot cake, especially for those who work closely in the finance and sector. We all know that CBN is a mandatory regulatory compliance for people to be able to to work in the GRC industry, of course, the department of the bank. So if you have friends, brothers, family, enemies, colleagues, whatever that is looking to upgrade him or herself, especially from the GRC point of view, IT GRC point of view, 12 noon is not a class, it's not a training they can afford to miss. It will be a step in the right direction if you're looking to leverage that industry. The level of attrition in this financial sector and even all this organization has created a room, a huge, huge room for what? For job employment in that sector. I am saying this from a place of understanding and knowledge when it comes to the business within the financial sector. And not only the financial sector, the telcos of this world, and even some parts of the FMCGs of this world. So please, if you have friends that you want to do a favor, it's not everything that is 2K of what's that thing called? Recharge card. It's not 2K of data. It's not 5K of I'm not at breakfast and all that. This is what a life impacting experience. Please, if you have anyone, friends, families, loved ones that you want to be a part of a success story in their lives, this afternoon session will be a great gift to them. All right, guys, let's do this. See you guys at 12 noon. It's 12 noon, right? Promise. Is it 12 noon? Are we coming back at 12 noon? Okay, are we coming back at 12
No,
noon?
sir. The break is just for 5 minutes. So
Oh, just for 5 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Maybe we should extend for 15 minutes because we need them to bring in more people onto the call. This is a rare opportunity that we don't do every week and we don't do every month. And I dare say we might not even do this here anymore. So if this is if we want to also to impact a broader audience, let's give them at least 15 minutes for them to come get more people to register and join. So we can start at 11:50 or 12 o'clock. All right. Please, let's do that. I will run it to 2:30. But before I go, any questions? Please feel free to unmute your mics let me just convert this to a question and answer session while we wait for other people to join. All right. Any question? If you do not have questions, we need questions, please. Please feel free to unmute your mic and ask questions. All right. And ask questions. I don't do chats. Is someone trying to ask a question?
Yes.
Fantastic. Mr. Alonge, go ahead, sir. Spoke.
This is Mr. Kingsley.
Okay.
Oh, Kingsley. Oh, sorry. I thought I saw Alonge on mute. Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, for Mr. Femi. First of all, thank you for the full session. It was really great. Finding out the United MS. Really great presentation. Okay, I need Mr. Femi to look at the ISO 9001 section plus 8.
Mm-hmm.
And he give me clarification from 8.2.
8.2.
Yes, 8.2 to 8.7. Run it with, let's say, an oil servicing company. If you have an oil servicing company, what would be that basic thing that they look at from 8.2 to 8.7?
Okay.
Use that as an example.
All right. You are going to have to pay for consulting, no? But it's fine. Femi.
All right. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you clearly.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen. Thank you. Thumbs up.
Okay, I'm taking it to that.
Please let's let the what's it called, the attendance continue to grow. I can see 41. let's make it happen to 60 or 50. All right, let's do that. Go ahead, Femi. Go ahead.
All right. So if I should get Mr. Kingsley questions right, so you need explanation from as regards the standard requirement of standard from 8.2 to 8.7. Am I right? 8.7. You for what industry?
Correct.
The oil.
Oil servicing.
Oil.
Yes.
Oil servicing.
Yes, oil and gas.
All right. Sorry?
Yeah, that's
Hello?
correct. Oil and gas.
Okay. Okay. All right. So let me take you back to the standard. All right. So 8.2 talks about 8.2 talks about requirement for products and services. All right. So when you say all services, if you were to drill it down, what kind of services really do you render? Oil and gas, right? So what are the requirements? First, what are the regulatory requirements? What are the statutory requirements? Again, what are your client's requirements? Are you getting it, sir? So then what are your own organizational requirements? So you need to be able to pull down all these things. I made mention in the other time. That's why when any organization wants to venture into any business or any, what's it called? A new business or a new product, they do what called visibility reports. So part of what should be in that visibility report are all these requirements I've stated. So one of the things you will be looking at for your own organizational requirement is that, okay, maybe company here has been doing this. What will make us unique? How do you want to approach this? As regard outside the requirement of the regulatory, the statutory, and all that. So all these requirements, then your clients requirement, those people you want to service. What do you think they'll be looking for as regards those services, right? So that's for 8.2. I hope that's clear. So for 8.3, is that okay, sir? Just so for 8.3, design and development of your products and services. So how do you want? Yeah. So this is saying, how do you want to approach your products or services? So whatever you service. So I don't know what exactly you do, but you serve what you do to service oil and gas industry. So what is, for instance, let me use if you're into physical products now, let's say equipment.
Right.
Maybe it's cranes.
We're into supply, operation, and maintenance of production facilities.
You are breaking.
Okay,
maintenance of production.
Management.
I had production facilities. I'm not sure if that clear. You are kind of breaking. Okay, so let me just so again. That will again make me go back to. That will again make me go back to class 4.3 that talks about scope. So even within the requirement of this standard, it might not be all the clauses that speak to you, so that might be exclusion. I was talking about scope. I talk about scope as regards people, scope as regards location, subsidiary, processes. Do you understand? So, for instance, if you don't do beyond this sub clauses that we still have sub in the standard. This is just a webinar. It's a full training, although you are getting an advantage of a training, right? But so there are sub in that in those 8.2, even those 7.1.5 now talks about monitoring and measuring. So if you don't have equipment that you need to calibrate, that will be excluded from your scope. So for this 8.3 now, you don't have, based on the services that you do, if you don't design anything, if you don't have any product or any sort of design, it will be excluded from your scope. Do you get? But if you have some sort of design, maybe product, maybe equipment, so what do you take note of the necessary inputs, like from the 8.2 into those design? You have design inputs, you have design outputs. Do you take note of the necessary input? So what are the inputs? How do you want your design to be? The design aligning with requirements, the regulatory again and all that. Then what are the outputs? How do you define your output of your design to be? How should it look like? So let's say maybe a bottle of water now, there are specifications, there are things that you've put down. So when in the process of producing or rendering those services, if it no means with those certifications, then your design development is totally an issue. And again, if you don't really design anything, this will be excluded from the scope of your certification. You just need to provide justification that, oh, we don't design, we're not into any form of design and all that. That's all. So for the 8.4, control of externally provided processes, products, and services. All right. So like I said, basically this speaks to more of your vendors, suppliers, and maybe partners, right? So as long as you outsource your processes or some of the processes or your products or services, when we say not your own products now, like you get some products. So this is saying that what level of control have you placed on them? Do you get? And some of the way you can address this is number one, first of all, setting criteria. What are the criteria? Before you can even bring in any vendor or any supplier or any partner, what are the criteria? What are onboarding criteria? Then, so when any vendor is coming, you not check them against those criteria. Are they fulfilling any of these criteria? Is there anyone they did not fulfill? So maybe you can strike them out. So maybe 3 vendors now, put in for you strike them out. And after that, there should be some sort of evaluation. Maybe every quarter, maybe every 6 months, maybe every year, annual, or whatever you want to do. So when you do it, when you evaluate, you must have parameters in which you evaluate them on. And who will be doing this evaluation should be those that actually make use of those products and services, right? So the result of the evaluation, you must communicate it to them. Because it's just like you see, tell a child, a pupil to sit for exam and did not see the result of the exam. So how will such pupil improve next time he goes for such exam? I can tell you, he or she will repeat the same thing. Do you understand? So that's 8.5. So that's 8.4. 8.5 now says that you should outline the processes, the procedure, the steps that are involved in carrying out your services. Let them be detailed. That speaks to more of your SOP, your process manual, and all that. How do you want to carry out all these things, production and service provision, right? Then 8.6, like I've explained, release of product and services before you finalize your even if it's service, there must be like now before you must have SLAs and MOUs that you sign with the oil and gas and all that. That these are and within in your SLA there must be KPIs, metrics that must be met, or else you will not get paid. So some of these KPIs I think you will need to check the requirement and of course also the regulatory, everything that we say we want as it be fulfilled. That's one. Then number two, do you place some sort of identification and traceability? Even though it's service, a lot of people, I speak more of products. So let me say, a lot of people say, service now. Yes, you can identify. So maybe you have actually outline a particular team to go and carry out maintenance services, right? In some of your clients. So after this has been done, there must be some sort of authorization, maybe a release or a final or whatsoever documentation that will identify that work on client premises. This is the supervisor that check some sort of identification that services was carried out by person from our facility. Do you get? Then the non-conforming control of non-conforming output. There must be procedure, there must be steps that you have put in place that, okay, should this not conform? Let's say you say maintenance and maybe maintenance of equipment. You must have planned procedure that, okay, should the client complain that, okay, this and this maintenance is not adequately carried out, effectively carried out, what are the plans? That's a non-conforming service. So how do you rectify that? So again, a lot of organizations do this. They just do it casually. They don't document it. And that takes me back to that principles of management, quality management. right? Evidence-based decision making. So I don't know if I'll be able to quickly address your what we're trying to take into time. Are you fine? Are you good? All right. So is there any other question? Oh, you're out of time. Is there any other question that I need to attend to?
Thank you, Femi. Thank you.
All
Thank you for that. We would share our invoice with you for the consultation, Mr. Mr. Kingsley. But yes, we also assist the organization with external audit readiness along this standard, and also perform or also conduct external audits along these standards. In line with we're partners with PECB and TNV, who are the global certification bodies. So yes, we also offer such services for two organizations who are looking to have surveillance or recertification exercise within the organization. All right. Okay. Thank you very much once again. It's great to be here, and exciting time. Now we're going slowly into the second half of the training. Like I earlier mentioned, it's not too late. Please invite your friends, invite your families, your loved ones, to benefit from these very interesting, what promises to be an interesting value add to this to you and to your loved ones. So yes, all right, okay, thank you. And we're moving into the second half, which speaks to 27,001 information security, which speaks to 20,000 service management, which speaks to business continuity. All right. So we will definitely be bringing on our dear Professor Damilare, who will be demystifying these standards for you. But before I hand over to Damilare, I want at least 10 people to just kind of give me an overview of what service management means. In one word, what security, information security means in one word, and what it means to be be business what business continuity means to an organization. Just one sentence. I need 10 people to drop that on the chat box, and then we can start. All right, 10 people, please. We need to do this before we start. I need to know. I need to what's the thing called? I need to ensure that we're all in the right frame to be able to take on this knowledge. All right, okay. Okay, I don't want to believe that everybody is a blank slate here. Come on, guys. Come on, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let us do this. Anybody? 10, top 10 people. 10. I can young people off. We do is a free training. Can decide to say that, okay, you're not participating. Please take this man off or take this lady off. All right. We need to know that everyone is here, and we need active participation. All right. What does service management, 20,000, what does it mean in your own understanding? What does information security mean in your own understanding? What does business continuity mean in your own understanding? Come on, guys, let's do this quickly, and then we can start. All right. I am going to the chat box now to see. Just pick one. Anybody can pick one. Yeah. Thank you very much, Aditomiwa. BCMS is all about resilience. Good, Timmy. Thank you. Information security means protecting yourself in the digital space. Right. Okay. Good. Who else? Let's do this quickly so that we can start. Resilience. Resilience is a big word. All right. There's a standard for resilience actually. Business continuity is the big brother. All right. All right. Who else? Let's do this quickly. I don't want to believe that people are just listening. Thank you very much, Damilare Oni. Protection of your digital space. Great. Digital space and what? Digital space and run business smoothly. Thank you very much. Oh, very much. Thank you, Martin. Service management is the process and procedures involved in rendering service. Yes. Yes. Thank you very much, Martin. 6 more people. Please, I'm noting down these names, so you never can tell. I might drop a gift at the end of this training program. Who knows? Victoria, thank you. SMS, enhancing customer experience. Yes, 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 thank you. Thank you. 5 more. 5 more. Who else? Who else is a lucky person? Who else is the lucky person? Who else? Thank you. Who goes there? Who is that? Promise. BCMS means acting on your toes to keep your business thriving. Good, good. Keep your business thriving. All right. Who else? 3 more. Is it 3 more or 2 more? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 4 more. Yeah, 4. All right. Anybody? Okay, with me. Good. Information security is protecting sensitive data from unauthorized access. Yes, 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 Jonathan. Information security is protecting personal information against. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you. It's not only digital, it's information in general, whether the information is stored in a physical form or in a digital form. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. It's good to know that people are gingered up and at least there is a let me use the word for a lack of a better word, requisite knowledge of some of these standard that we're about to discuss. All right. Samuel says information security means technology designed to protect sensitive information from unauthorized access. Thank you very much for that, Samuel. It's very important that I kind of feel the knowledge pulse of the people on this call. All right, because these are going to be the ITGRC expert of tomorrow. Amen. 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 All right, thank you very much. It's very important that we information security generally is physical security without physical or digital security, and that's why the ISO standard have coined out the 27032, which primarily focuses on what cyber security, and another standard that focuses on the cloud security, which is the 27017. But the daddy of them all is the 27001, which is the general information security, which Professor Damilari will be demystifying in a bit. So, all right, but I always say that there's no point on what's the thing called on security if you do not have any infrastructure in place in the first place, and the infrastructure should be up and running. All right, you can't start to discuss who you want to hire in a building that does not exist. All right, you can't say that I want to hire a security. Maybe in some beliefs. Let me use the word in some beliefs. They say that you have to people buy car keys without a car and say that I believe that I will drive a car someday. So some people can argue that I can decide to hire a security guard even before I build my own house. Even before I build my own house, I can hire a security guard. Of course, if you do not have a house, what are you securing? And that also speaks to 20,000 and also the relationship it has with 27,001, because of course the service in itself has to be up and running for you to be able to say, okay, now this service is up and running. I now have to start to think of how to secure it to ensure it's a business continuity. Because of course, if there's any disruption, if there's any hackers or any unauthorized, like a lot of you have used unauthorized access towards disrupting services, then there's a problem. And that is where also business continuity kicks in. So you can see that these 3 standards are a marriage made in heaven, and that's why some people will use the term integrated management system to qualify these 3 standards. All right, so it's very important that you pay keen attention to this session, and please invite your friends your loved ones, your family. Did I mention enemies? You can also invite your enemies, because once the enemies are fully engaged and gainfully employed, maybe they will not think about how to bring you down. All right. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here, and also thanking Promise, who is our Port-Harcourt maestro, Chief Business Officer in Port-Harcourt, who has gracefully given us the opportunity to extend this Human Capital Development Initiative into Port-Harcourt. So thank you very much for that. At this point, I want to hand over to Damilare to continue the Lord's work. All right. Thank you very much, guys, and see you at the end of the training program. Thank you. Damilare, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir, Mr. Miwa. Thank you very much for that. And I want to say, I'm sure we are all having a fantastic time today, because even myself, I've learned a lot of things from what Mr. Femi did initially. That he told us about QMS, he told us about the fundamentals and things that we need to put in place, whether from organization standpoint and even individual standpoint, if you look at it critically. So it's something that is very important that we all need to take into consideration. And is to build on what he has started already. And I will probably introduce us to the 3 standards that we are going to be talking about today, which cut across information security, ISO 20000, which is the service management system, and also the business continuity also. And as Doctor mentioned the other time, that probably we can briefly introduce the concept behind AIMS, which is the Artificial Intelligence Management System also. We can just briefly introduce that into the conversation. But I believe it's going to be a great time for us, and it's going to be interactive also. And there are a series of scenarios that we have been painted that we want to test our understanding on the subject matter, as the case may be. So permit me to share my screen. Just a minute, sorry. All right. I want to believe we can all see my screen. Is that correct?
Yes, it's visible.
All right. Thank you very much. So I kind of rephrase the conversation I want to have with you guys with regards to the 3 different standards, looking at it from the standpoint of the benefits and the challenges also, whether organizations face or individuals also that they face when it comes to either implementation, audit, or adoption of these 3 different standards, as the case may be. So these are things that probably one tend to come across, whether you are implementing either of the 3. But then I try as much as possible to break them down into the different aspects also. Then we talk about the integrated aspects, which is much more important also. So we want to talk about what are the ISO standard, why management systems are very essential, looking at the 3 of them, the overview, then the relevance to integrated management, as the case may be. So starting with information security, you cannot talk about information security without really talking about what is information itself. So there is need for us to have an idea of what information is. And information is an organized or classified data with meaningful value for the receiver. And we all can attest that various organizations that we represent, what set our organizations apart is the information that we tend to either produce or that we crunch on. The information that we produce out there is what makes us different, whether you are from the banking sector, whether you are from the oil and gas, whether you are from the insurance. There is one specific thing that makes your organization or that make your field of discipline that make it special or different from every other area, which is the set of information within that space. And that's why we say information is a classified data with meaningful values for the receiver. And for information, there are three things that are very important for an information. Three things that are very important for an information. One of them is it has to be timely. Now, an information that is not timely cannot be, it means that at some point, the availability of that information might be hindered one way or the other. It means that at every point in time where that information is needed, it is being assessed by the set of persons that are authorized to assess it. Then also we look at the concept of accuracy. It means that every information that is being shared, that probably we are trying to send to an external third party or stakeholder, as the case may be, or internal stakeholder, whichever case we can call it. So that information have to be accurate. It means that there is no ambiguity about that information. There is no confusion about that information. It has to be accurate. It has to be clear. That it doesn't have to be an information where the set of person we are communicating it with, they don't understand what we are saying. So it's very important for us to ensure that our informations are timely at all time. They are accurate at all time. Then in terms of completeness, it means that there is no the actual information that we are channeling is actually complete. It means that we are not omitting any vital points in that information. So we ensure that those information, they are complete at all times. And you might want to ask also, what are the types of information? Or if we are saying information, what are the various kinds of information that we can have? Now, information, they do exist in various forms. It could be either in a printed format or, or written format on papers. They could be stored electronically. They could be transmitted via post or even through electronic means. They could be visuals in terms of videos, in terms of diagrams. They could be published on the websites. They could be oral, verbal communications, whether phone calls or the likes. And also information could be intangible. We could group them into that intangible aspect, which encompasses knowledge, experience, expertise, and ideas, which we can see a lot of people on this call that have, a lot of that. I'm sure we all have various knowledge in different industry, as the case may be. So as I mentioned, the overview for 27001 is centered around a primary focus on the information security management. Primary focus on the information security management. Then also to protect confidentiality, integrity, availability of information. Then also we tend to look at based on risk management and continual improvement. So that's actually what information security really encompasses. The ability for us to put into consideration our CIA, we call them CIA, but more recently it is drifting away from the concept of CIA alone. So the privacy is a concept also that is being adopted into that conversation. So as much as we are looking at our CIA, which is the confidentiality, integrity, and availability, we are also considering privacy of information also into that conversation. So which lead us to explain how we can preserve our CIAP in question. So when we hear confidentiality entails that we have a certain information that is only accessible by some selected persons or some authorized personnel. So those are the kind of thing that we can call confidential. Just like within this meeting, if I decided to pick about 3 or 4 people and I send a message to them, and that message just involve 4 of us alone, it means that as much as we are all in this group, the information I shared with them is a confidential information, which a non-authorized person, that means anybody that is not among the 4 people is unauthorized to get access to that information. So that's basically what confidentiality is really addressing. Then when you look at integrity focuses on safeguarding the accuracy and the completeness of the information. You remember the other time when we were talking about information, we said information has to be timely, it has to be accurate, and it has to be complete. Now, integrity encompasses the completeness and the accuracy nature of our information. So the ability for us to safeguard an information that is being passed, and that information maintains its integrity. It means that the completeness of that information is intact, and also the accuracy of that information is also intact. Then speaking of availability, availability ensures that whenever that information is being needed, that information is provided upon request by the selected persons that are supposed to have access to it. Now, if we now want to like bring in the conversation of the CIA, want to merge them together, it means that when an information is passed across 4 people, and we ensure that the information maintains its accuracy and also its completeness. When that information is needed, we must ensure that that information is available for those 4 people. So at the point where it is not available, it means that we have breached availability. Or at the point where the 5th person gained access to that information, it means that we have breached confidentiality. Or at the point where that information is no longer complete or accurate, it means that we have breached integrity. So at every point in time, it's very important for us to look at these 3 things when it comes to information security. And also, in addition, the privacy. It shows that it ensures how personal information is being assessed. It means that if I have in possession an information about someone within this call, for instance, how I tend to undo that information speaks more about privacy. And that's why we have various, standard or various acts within different countries. We have the GDPR, we have the NDPA, series of them like that really speak in-depthly about privacy. And it's very important for us to, take privacy into consideration, because as much as we are considering our CIA, we have customer data with us. We have customer information with us. We need to put into consideration whoever are the persons that are handling this data within the organization or this information within the organization. They should understand how they handle that information. Now, if an information of your customer is being breached from your end, definitely it could bring in a lot of challenges or issues from the customer, which might require legal actions being taken. Such kind of things could happen. And because organizations are very much careful about that, so they tend to put in people that are much more competent, people that can really handle customers' information or confidential information, as the case may be. And other things that we look out for, other properties that we look out for here is authenticity, accountability, non-repudiation, reliability. These conversations also are being introduced into how to preserve our CIAP. There are 3 basic elements that, for information security that are extremely vital. Extremely vital. Now, the people or the staffs, the stakeholders within the organization, whether they are both internal, external, outsourced, whichever case it may be, they are very essential. Now, if there are various, as the second one talked about, business operation and processes, we have different processes that help, the organization to achieve its objective. Now, all these processes one way or the other are being handled by people, whether it is internal or external. Now, the necessity for us to have adequate persons to handle each of those responsibilities is very key. And that is why we need to ensure that we look at competence, we look at, how knowledgeable the person that are handling those responsibilities are within, the information security standard or framework, as the case may be. Then also we look at technology and system. Now, if we have itemized our processes, the different processes that we have that help us to carry out various activities within our information security environment. Now, there are technologies that can really help us handle them with ease. For instance, if you want to collate information about your customer now, for instance, you can, naturally people will want to use Excel document, maybe an Excel document to just want to compute all the information. But at some points, technology could really help you to have, a database that could really be monitored properly. That could be, security. There's so much security consciousness put into consideration when such database are being built and the things like that. So technology helps you to carry out those processes in a seamless and easy manner. And the people are the ones that will drive the technology. So that's why the three elements are very important, and the organizations need to get it right when these three things are being addressed within the organization. Then another thing I want to talk about is the benefits. The benefits that we tend to achieve whenever we're talking about 27001. We build customers' trust through data security. Now, an organization that does not put into consideration data security is at the risk of losing its customer, because if there are breaches, there are data breach at every point in time, or customer confidential information is being leaked, multiple times, such customers, they tend to not trust the organization generally. So it's very important that these are the things that organizations or individuals tend to benefit whenever you are adopting or implementing 27001 into your organization. Then also it ensures regulatory compliance with the like of the GDPR, the NDPA, as Doctor mentioned the other time. For some of us that are probably into the banking, for instance, it is very important that something like you perform ISO 27001 is being implemented within your organization, because there are certain requirements that will ensure that, let's say, for instance, the PCI DSS, that will ensure that you are in compliance if you're going to be doing anything like payments card, or card system and all of those things. So those requirements are there to just ensure compliance, and ISO 27001 tend to lay the foundation, not just the foundation, but the building block of how you, as an organization, you can fulfill your compliance with regards to different regulatory. Then also it reduces information security breaches. Now, information security tends to give you an eye-opening experience that guides you into areas that need attention in the organization. And this area could involve your risk assessment. And when we talk about risk assessment, I think Femi explained the other time about the risk assessment. But when it comes to 27001, there are two different approaches in which we adopt whenever we are doing our risk assessments. We look at it from the standpoint of the asset-based risk assessment or scenario-based. And either asset-based or scenario-based, either of the approach are important. And the essence of risk assessment itself is to, first of all, the organization to be proactive about certain things that will not allow them to achieve their objectives, and to treat them beforehand, or when they occur, when those challenges occur, when those breaches occur, that they tend to put in controls in place that can address each of those issues, as the case may be. Then the last one talked about promote security culture across organization. Now, in most environments, people tend to feel that information security is just an IT-related, conversation, and it should just be with the IT team or the InfoSec team. I will say it is not really, because at one point or the other, everybody in the organization are handling certain assets. They are handling certain, they are doing certain work in the organization that involve information security. It means that within the organization, I'm sure probably we have an organogram that shows that, yeah, this is Department A, Department B, this is this, and all of that. At one point or the other, all the departments, they interrelate. There's an handshake between different departments, and that explains that the department, the organization is a singular unit, functions well when the all departments synchronizes, when they function as one, then the organization tends to achieve their objective. So it is not just IT objectives or IT related conversation that we're having here. Everybody contributes one way or the other. And that is why when we implement 27001, it tends to help us to promote that culture, that within the organization, this is our DNA, this is our oxygen that we breathe in this organization, that we follow all the approaches of 27001 in every activities that we go through. Then there are certain challenges also, certain issues that people do face whenever they are trying to adopt all of these 27,001 processes, as the case may be. Resistance to change in the organization culture. People might be used to an approach of doing things, and once you introduce a much more secure approach, it is going to be a challenge trying to transition into that environment. And that's where the top management comes in to ensure that as much as we are implementing 27,001 or we are working with 27,001 as a framework or standard in the organization, that everybody sees it as an important thing and everybody flow along the same line to achieve the same objective. Then complexity of assets and risk identification. Now, this also tends to pose certain constraints to organization in adopting this standard. It means that when they have different assets, categorizing those assets, identifying those assets could really pose some challenges. Then resource constraints in terms of budgets and personnel. Resource constraint in the sense that most organizations think that they are not financially okay to handle. And that is actually not true, because when it comes to 27,001 and even all the management system, your organization might just be a 5-man organization and it is really applicable. So it's not just applicable for 500,000 capacity organization. So it is applicable for everyone. If it is a 1-man organization, it is applicable. If it is different numbers, as the case may be, it is applicable. So it's just the ability for you to know exactly how you put in your processes into place and how you undo those different processes as well. Then maintaining documentation and evidences. This one is actually a challenge, that comes around when you see organizations that do not have competent persons handle those responsibilities. So they might not really understand what each of them really represents. So these are challenges that some organizations do face in trying to adopt 27,001. And speaking of the 27,001, so I just did an overview. I don't want to talk about most of the things Femi has really addressed before. So I will just summarize this particular area. So the standard itself is divided into 5 different areas, 5 parts or sections. We have the clause 4 to 10, which addresses the governance and the management of the information security. Then aside from that, we have the annexes, which is Annex A5, A6, A7, and A8. And when you look at, as the other facilitator has mentioned, he said when it comes to Clause 8 is actually the aspect of the standard that differentiates the different, standard that you want to implement, whether it is for SMS, whether it is for BCMS, whether it is for EMS, whether it's for QMS. Clause 8 is actually the major difference, though there are some areas also that you still need to add, some other input to when it comes to the clauses also, which is a clause 4 to 10. But clause 8 is actually really addressing the operation. It means that everything that you highlighted in various clauses, the operation of those things, the actual practice of those things is what we see in clause 8. And for ISO 27001, it's not different. What we see in our clause 8 is the annexes, which is broken down into 4, which is A5, organizational control, which focuses on operations and business processes, security plus IT kind of things. Then Annex A6 talked about the people control, and here we want to see exactly the human resource security. It means that everyone coming into the organization, we want to be sure how the processes that is being followed, the due diligence that is being followed, getting to know the person before bringing the person into the organization. The A7 talked about physical controls, which is the facilities and environmental security, then plus IT as well. Then A8 talked about the technological control, which is IT system security itself. Now, there's a news that goes, more recently. I'm sure every one of us, you might have heard about the news of FCMB, as the case may be. Something happened in FCMB that someone climbed into the roof and slept overnight on the roof. They were talking about security breach and all of that. And so if you look at the annexes or the controls that we're talking about here, they tend to, speak about how to avoid things like that. So it's a function of, number one, addressing, ensuring that we have competent people that are handling different controls or different responsibilities. Now, when it comes to the facility of the organization, we want to ensure that we do not just pick a roadside person to be our security officer or to be our CSO. It means that someone who does not understand the importance of the assets that we have in the organization. If you don't know the importance of the asset, you won't know exactly the value of the assets that you are told to guide. So at some point, there are so many measures that need to be put in place. When it comes to your CCTV, when it comes to ensuring that we have physical security personnel that move around the entire organization at odd hours, then understand also that even your CCTV also, you ensure that there is no blind spots. When I mean blind spot, it means that you want to ascertain that your camera view, the CCTV capture every moment, and you also have a screen dedicated for monitoring every activities in various areas within the organization. So that is very important. So when I saw the news, I knew that there was a problem with number one, with the facility manager, the person that helped to handle or maintain security within that environment, and also the people tend not to be observant with certain things. There might be some controls in place that they've put in place to address certain things, but if you don't monitor the effectiveness of the control, or you don't look at how that control could be breached, it means you've not started considering information security very well. And people do things in such a way that when you have implemented your controls, or let's say, for instance, during your risk assessment, you conduct a risk assessment and you realize that there could be security breach of when it comes to your physical environment. You don't have certain metrics put in place with regards to how you can safeguard that environment. Even when you now decide to put in some controls, people tend not to monitor the effectiveness of that control, because it's one thing to put in controls. It's another thing for that control to be effective. And an effective control today could be breached tomorrow. It means that if you have a password, for instance, most of the time when we are logging into our system, at some point they make us to understand that once you have your username and password, that's all about it. But recently, we understand that your password can be breached. Someone can hack you, can hack your password. So what exactly is the next thing to do? And that's why the introduction of two-factor authentication comes into play. You can make it either token-based, you can make it different, either biometrics or something like that, that will show that you are the real person that should get access to that information that you are trying to gain access to, or to that place, that particular environment that you should be in. So as organization, we should ensure that we put all of these things into consideration, and we put the right person to undo various aspects of responsibilities within all of this conversation, to put the right person there to undo the responsibilities properly. Then okay, now a layman interpretation of what the clauses really talked about, from the clause 4 to clause 10. So realize that our clause 4 is really addressing context of the organization, which is any organization that will be implementing the management system. So this cut across all management system, not just ISO 27001. So I will not be explaining this concept when it comes to the other standard, which is BCMS. That's 22301 and also 20,000. I will not be explaining this concept, but then it's generally for all the standard itself. So clause 4 talked about any organization that will be implementing the management system should be clear on its context. So we are talking about context. We are talking about the strategy, approach in which you want to adopt this management system. And when you are considering all of this approach too, there are things that you need to put into consideration. It means that you are looking at your internal issues, you are looking at your external issues, and all these issues, you are being objective about it. You are looking at how these issues could really disrupt your organization or not allow you to achieve your objective, because you are, at every point in time, organizations do have objective. It means that we want to achieve some financial targets, we want to achieve our branding target, we want to do certain things. So clause 4 helps us to identify issues, internal or external issues. So external issues could be regulatory, could be change in policy, change in tax, something like that, what we could call external issues. Then also it helps us to look at our interested parties, whether it is in internal interested parties or external interested parties. And when I mean interested parties is at one point, which organization or which body are really interested in our operation, or that we need their services to achieve our aim, to achieve our goals that we've set in the organization. So we look at these interested parties and we understand their needs and expectation. For a banking system, we understand that one of the interested parties that they want to have is CBN. And what does CBN need from them? That they should comply with regulatory requirements, whether it is in form of IT regulatory requirements, or whether it is in form of other sectors as well. So they ensure that organizations fulfill these requirements. That's what clause 4 is really talking about. Then when you look at second one, leadership, clause 5. Leadership of an organization will truly drive and support the management system implementation initiative. Now, if whichever framework standard that you want to implement within the organization, whether it is, the three ones, the three that I'm discussing, which is 27,001, 20,000, or 22,301, or the ones that Mr. Femi took a while ago, any of them, the implementation and the adoption of this standard is driven by the top management. If the top management or the leadership of the organization do not see the necessity for the implementation or adoption of this standard, it will not be adopted. So that's why it is very important for leadership, the set of people in leadership in the organization, to see the nitty-gritty, to see the importance of all of these standard, as the case may be. Then third one, talk about planning, clause 6. The organization must appropriately plan both the implementation and the operational adoption. So with regards to every aspect of the implementation or every aspect of the adoption, it should be planned. So it's not something that happened just all of a sudden. And here we look at our risk itself. It means that you look in-depthly into the organization entirely and see what areas of the organization do we have some certain risk that will not allow us to achieve our set objectives within the organization. So we look at those areas and we address those risks, and we plan how we address those risks. We plan how we put in, controls, how we put in, various efforts and activities to ensure that the things that are going to disrupt our operation, the things that are going to disrupt the implementation or the adoption of this framework or standards, we ensure that we put in measures in place to address all of them. Then support. Support is much more like an additional to what the leadership of the organization does, which is clause 7. It explains what or how the leadership of the organization is going to render support. And when I mean support, it could be logistics support, it could be personnel support. Maybe we need people to handle such responsibilities, not just resources now, for instance. We need competent resources, people that know exactly what to do, not just people that we are going to train them from grass and we expect them to deliver on the job. So it explains, competence. It explains, how we can perform our awareness, how we do awareness and training, because this is much more an organization thing. It's not just IT or some sector in the some part of the organization's responsibility. It is everyone's responsibility. So we tend to do awareness and training sessions to ensure that everyone is in the know of the conversation that the standard is really emphasizing on. Then also we emphasize on communication. Now, awareness and training might not be enough to really address how you pass out information about the management system to everyone in the organization. So communication is also adopted, where probably once in a week or twice in a month, you tend to send a communication about a subject matter, maybe about the latest attack now, maybe phishing as an attack. You tend to explain phishing to everyone, and you do some simulation also, just to ensure that everyone is very in the know of how they can protect themselves, how they can protect their information, as the case may be. Then also we focus also, if you look at the ISO 20000 part of it, focus on knowledge. It means that if we have senior colleagues in the organization, then the senior colleagues there should be an aspect where we pass out knowledge. It means that if you are an experienced person and we are bringing in an intern, there should be knowledge sharing. There should be sessions of knowledge sharing where those persons also we understand exactly what is being done in the organization, and they will learn from the wealth of the experience of the senior colleagues. Then organization control is about 37 in controls, so I might not really be dealing with all of them. You will get a full understanding about them if it is a training, and each and every one of them, they are very important in the system. They are very important in organizations that are intending to implement this standard. Is very important. The 37 of them, policy, roles and responsibility, the management responsibility, access control, identity management, how we ascertain that this person belongs to this organization, access rights. If you have a system, what right do you have on that system? If you are given an access to a platform that is being used in the organization, what rights do you have within that platform? So we'll look at all of these conversations within the organizational control. Then for the people control, which is basically the HR control, we look at screening. What are the things that HR put into consideration when they are bringing people into the organization? The terms and condition of employment, the awareness, education, and training that we mentioned the other time. The disciplinary process. At some point, there's going to be a breach of the terms and condition. So there should be a disciplinary process put in place to address that. And this also will be communicated to everyone, even from at the point of bringing them in, onboarding into the organization itself. We tend to itemize all of these things and address them one after the other. Then we look at the physical controls, which addresses physical security, physical entry, securing office, monitoring, so many conversations, clear desk, clear screen. Now, most organizations don't tend to put this into consideration. Now, if you are handling a confidential information and your colleague in the office tend to is not working on that information, and they tend to walk around you, and they tend to probably see some information that are very, very important, and that information is exposed. Now, you don't know exactly how, or you don't know what your colleague will do with that information. So you tend to ensure that you protect your screen. It means that if you are leaving your screen at every point in time, lock your screen and avoid overexposing too much sensitive information on your system. It means that on your desktop, don't put files and folders that are not necessarily that you are not ready to work on in the immediate. You don't tend to put them there because you should have a password to to lock your system that only you can remember. And it's not a scenario where you are not available and you're telling somebody to help me check something on my system. Now, anything could happen. A scenario happened some while ago where someone left the left the seats and just went to the restroom and left the system open, and the CEO of the organization went to the system and typed the man's resignation and sent it to himself. And call for the man, and the man was wondering, how did I type my own resignation? So it's as a result of these controls that have been put in place, or policies and procedures that have been developed within the organization that speaks about all of these things. Now, if people are not adhering to it, there will be a disciplinary process, which 6.4 in the people's control is really addressing. And you can see that we are speaking about 7.7 in physical control, and one way it relates to 6.4 in people's control. So it's to make us understand that all these processes, one way or the other, they intertwine, they relate with each other. They are not just there in isolation. They relate with each other one way or the other. Then the technical controls, there are about 34 of them. This addresses everything that we need to understand with regards to the systems that we have, the configuration, when it comes to configuration and security of those environments, as the case may be, protection against malware, how we can do, how we can delete information. Now, most people don't know that maybe on social media, for instance, you tend to delete an information, but that information is not actually deleted. Every information that you think you've deleted can still be, brought back to life. So it's something that is very important that, whenever we are deleting information, there are secure ways of, deleting information. There are secure ways of, managing, our asset, our information, as the case may be. Whether it comes to the softwares that we use, the application that we use in the organization, to ensure that that application is safe. So we can't just look because when we look online, there are so many beautiful applications that somebody might project and make you feel like, this application is very good for your organization, or is very good for your personal use. But then if you don't look at the security posture of that application, and if there is going to be breach at any point in time, a lot of people would have lost a lot of assets, a lot of financial assets as a result of negligence in this aspect. So it's very important that we put them into consideration. And there are IT terminologies in terms of web filtering, and this one is very important. Organization that is giving internet access to the staff members should ensure that at one particular area that they filter the websites. Now, if not, some persons in the organization might be playing Naira bets, they might be playing Bet Niger, all those kind of betting platforms. They might be doing that, or even, going to websites that are pornography websites and the things like that are against the culture of the organization. So all of these things should be put in place, and from a technological standpoint. And that is why the technological controls are there to really guide on how we want to, the things that we want to permit, the things that we want to deny, as the case may be. It helps us to put that into perspective. Then switching to ISO 20000. ISO 20000, it focuses on IT service management. And when we talk about IT service management, we are looking at for organizations that are maybe a data center organization, or maybe organization that offer services to their prospective customers, as the case may be. So you want to ensure certain things are put into consideration while you are offering those services to your customers. You want to ensure that your IT service aligns with your business needs. You want to ensure that it aligns with your business needs. So you are not just bringing in IT services. It's not that somebody is just telling you that this product is very good, or this particular service is very good, and you are just adopting it because it is good, and you don't see the necessity of how it relates to your business needs. So that means that as an organization, we only bring in services that are beneficial to our business. We are not just buying something for buying sake, or we are not just buying application or buying subscription just because we want to do Christmas. No, we are buying them because some aspect of our business needs that particular service. And all of these things also would have been done from your risk assessment. It means that you look at every aspect of the services that you render, and you know that, okay, these are the gaps, these are the areas that we need to strengthen, and these are the areas that we need to work more on, and you address all of those areas as the case may be. Then you look at the benefits. What are the benefits of ISO 20000? Now, it improves service delivery. Now, for organizations that are into service the render services, as the case may be, one of the things that are very key that ISO 20000 focuses on is your service delivery. Now, there's a difference between when you are you don't pay attention to how your customer tend to perceive the service that you deliver. It's very important, or ISO 20000 and ISO 20000 rather help us to focus on ensuring that we are delivering top-notch service, and also our focus is on satisfying our customers. Now, not by giving them unrealistic expectation, is by making them to understand that yes, whatever goal that they want to achieve, we can help them to achieve those goals, and also it can also help us to improve the services that we render to them in different lights. Then also it reduces service downtime through structured processes. It means that for organizations that render services, service downtime is one of the biggest challenges that people cannot handle. Like, for instance, you are into an internet providing services, and your customers complain about service downtime over time, and this is going to affect maybe your financial objective that you've highlighted also, or in terms of your reputation as well, because people will tend to look at you like, no, you don't deliver top-notch service, so that trust will not be there in that light. So with ISO 20000, it helps one to have a structured process in place. And by structured process, it means that every aspect of your services, you've done a risk analysis, a thorough risk analysis on each of the services that you render, and you look at areas that needs continual improvement, and you are always there to address those areas at every point in time. And also you are listening to customers' needs as well. So it means that if you have a product, for instance, and the customer tend to like, probably based on survey, and they tend to like look at the product and tells you that they will like the possibility for you to develop the product in some certain lights, and you see that kind of recommendation from a quite number of customers, you can take that initiative from that conversation and ensure that you put that into place as well. Then encourages accountability with defined roles and SLAs. Encourages accountability. It means that when you have an SLA is service level agreement between you and your customer. Now, if those agreements are stipulated that, yes, these are the things that you are going to do. For instance, maybe you say you are going to deliver 99% availability of either power or either network services, as the case may be. At some point, the organization will be taking note also. The time, any downtime that is being recorded, within a time frame that the downtime occur, they will record it, and they will benchmark it against the SLA signed, if you are actually meeting up with what you said initially. So that's why accountability is very essential when it comes to 20000. And this really explains the whole from clause 4 to clause 8 of the to clause 10 rather of the management system. The first one talked about the context, as I mentioned the other time, context of the organization, the leadership, which focuses on the commitment, the policy, the authority, the roles, responsibilities, and authorities. Then the planning talks about the risk and opportunities, the objectives, and the plan for the service management system. Then clause 7 focuses on the supports of the management system, which we look at resources, competence, awareness, communication, and documented information. Now, it is very important when you are dealing with management system generally, the approach you adopt whenever you are documenting your information is very important. And that is why in most cases, it is always advisable that for organizations that are going to implement more than one standard, they should do it in like integration format. And this will help so that uniformly you are going to have the same approach in which you document your information, whether it is customer data, whether it is staff data, whether it is policies, whether it is procedures, whether it is process documents, whether it is SLA, you know, they follow that same format as you've defined in your documented, the procedure for your documented information. Then you see clause 8, we talked about the operation of the SMS. You talked about the operational planning and control, relationship agreement, design, service design, build, transition, service assurance, you know, all of these things, especially the clause 8 is really addressing the nitty-gritty of what your 20,000 is all about. So it means that as an organization, if all you do is to render service to your prospective customers. Now, all of these requirements in clause 8, in the ones in red, are the ones that you need to look out for each and every one of them to see exactly if you're in compliance with them, if you have processes in place to address each and every one of them. Then, of course, clause 9 is performance evaluation, which explains that everything that you have developed within your management system, how exactly are they performing? Are you monitoring them? What analysis? Femi mentioned about SMART. When you are setting your objective, they must be SMART. Now, here we want to see that the measuring part, the M part of the SMART, we want to see if they are measurable. We want to see if you've carried out, you said you are going to have, you plan to achieve 95%, availability. Maybe you are rendering internet service. You say you are going to render 99%. Now, your customers are now going to look at you that, okay, you said 99%, but then out of about 365 days in a year, they have good services for like 340 days. Now, 365 over 640. So there are calculations that you're going to perform that is going to now make you understand if you now meet up with that 99% or not. So that's what we done in your clause 9. Then also your clause 9, your management review, your internal audits or service reporting, those conversations are also being discussed. Then your improvement, it means that we want to see if you are constantly improving, and areas where there are issues, non-conformity, you tend to log those non-conformity and put in, perform some root cause analysis to see exactly what are the reasons why we have issues with regards to some aspect of these services that we are rendering. And you tend to be objective and try to, bring in, controls or solutions that could really address those challenges. Then the key challenges that we see here is difficulty in transitioning from ad hoc to structured IT service management. So it means organizations that are following a normal conventional aspect of doing monitoring their services or activities that they perform on their services. It's very difficult for them to follow a structured ITSM. And being structured, it means that you are looking at that clause 8, you are looking at every aspect of that clause 8, and you are addressing each and every one of them as you are supposed to. Then misalignment between IT and business objectives. Now, if your business objective and your IT objective are not speaking the same language, that is the first challenge that we have encountered there. So we should ensure that that is being curbed at all time. Then time-consuming service documentation. So documentation is very important. It's very important when it comes to your services, the activities that you perform within your services. So it is very important for organization to have a documented process or a documented approach to maybe in terms of reporting, to explain exactly the challenges that they're having with regards to services. The ISO 22301. This focus on business continuity management system, and it speaks about preparing for, responding to, and recovering from disruptions. So the question could be, what is a disruption? So I've been speaking for a while. I would really like anybody to just tell me what you think disruption is all about. What you think disruption is all about. Anyone want to help us out? Does anyone want to help us out? Disruption. When you hear the term disruption, what rings? What do you understand by it? Anyone?
So I know that when it comes to disruption, it's more or less like the regular flow of a norm. There is that sort of a major activity that is done to, change it. So let's assume that a business that is into fiber business, then Starlink comes. Then it comes to disrupt the market from their regular revenue generating activity, whereby their customers would move to that particular vendor. So disruption comes into play here.
All right. Thank you so much, Richard. Thank you so much for that. Anyone else? Anyone else want to help us?
So I would say disruption is, like putting a pause on something, like where when you're working on something and there is an inevitable pause. It's not like the pause was intentional, like an unintentional pause. That's what I would say it is.
All right. Thank you very much for that, Simile. Thank you very. Any other person want to help us out? Any other person? Any other person? In plain terms, in simple language, what is disruption? Any other person? I would like some other person to speak, though.
So something that affects the normal operations of something.
Thank you. Thank you, Promise. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So in simple terms, disruption is actually, as the word sound, disrupt. That means there's a proper flow of how the business is going. So it's just pause the business and, it takes your attention away from the business and put your focus on the problem. So it creates a problem to distract you from the business so that your attention will now be on the problem. So that's what disruption is really all about. And if we look at what 22301 is really addressing, is really focusing on, how we tend to prepare for disruption. It means that it's focusing on a preventive approach. It is focusing on a preventive approach, then also to respond to and recover from. So it means that not just preventive, it's talking also about corrective. So it's a preventive and a corrective approach to undo certain disruptions that happen to business. And I'm sure, most of us, whether as a business or as individual, we understood what happened during the COVID year, that most business went out of operation just because you did not plan for some certain activities. Like, for instance, you might want to ask yourself, now, I have a business that involves me physically going out to meet people. Let's say it's a thrift business, and I have to go to meet them and ask them for them to donate money, and I help them to keep that money, as the case may be. Now, during COVID, when we don't have the possibility of going out, automatically that business will suffer. But for individuals or organizations that are put in measures in place, that if I don't have if I don't have the strength, for instance, to go to where I'm supposed to do business, will my business still flow? Or if that primary location that my business is situated, if there's a change in that business, maybe there's something that happened in that environment, will my business still continue? So that's the question that most organizations and most businesses or individuals as well need to ask themselves. That, okay, these are the things, these are the approach that we need to take to ensure that our businesses don't fold. Now, most organizations have, they are thinking about, or let me say, they have adopted business continuity management system into their operation because they tend to, yes, they have a process in place when COVID happened, but then they did not plan, they did not test those plans. But I mean, for instance, you tell yourself that, okay, if anything is going to disrupt my business, I have these processes in place. but you have not tested those processes. Now, when something now disrupts the whole process, you will now come back and say, okay, I have something to fall back on that will guide me into, still remaining in business. But because you have not tested those plans, it becomes like, ambiguous to you to handle how to navigate your route around such plan. And that's why business continuity is not just going to be something that we do to just get business continuity plan or to get incidents response plan, to get all of those things. We are supposed to test those plans. There should be scenarios where, for instance, you just decide to stay at home. That, okay, I'm not going to my shop today. I'm not going to the office today. Now, that's if you are a single owner of your business, not an employee. So please don't implement it if you're an employee that you work for an organization. Let it be the organization implementing it. But if you are an individual that you own your business yourself, you can just like, okay, let me just sit down at home. What are the things, can I still achieve my business objective? All those financial targets that I set, can I still hit them? The strategy that I've put in place, can I still hit those strategy? So that's the idea behind business continuity. And it also covers incidents like cyber attacks, pandemics, power failure, and the likes. So it tends to prepare us for those disruptions ahead of time. And as I said, it's either it is something that has happened before, or it's something that is yet to happen, or it's something that we are trying to recover from, as the case may be. So the question now is, what is business continuity? So business continuity encompasses planning. It encompasses planning, preparation to ensure that our organization can continue to operate in case of serious incidents or disasters, and they can recover to operational states within a reasonable short period of time. Now, emphasis is on short period of time. Now, some people went out of business during COVID, and maybe they are just coming back into business now. So you can see that that is not really business continuity. The fact that your business phased out for about 3 to 4 years and you are just coming back, that's not business continuity. So it will only be business continuity if the disruption just tend to tilt things, in a short period of time, and you're able to bounce back to your operational state that you were initially. So that's what business continuity is. And there are certain things, reasons why we need business continuity, why we need BCMS. So effect of disruptions are minimized. It means that when we have controls in place, when we have, like our BCP, something that we call BCP. BCP is like business continuity plan. So this plan tends to emphasize on some scenarios that could happen. For instance, that if those scenarios happen, they could affect your business. Now, if you have draw up a plan on how you want to address those scenarios, it will help you when those scenarios really suffices. It will help you to address them, because if, for instance, you say, if somebody have headache, the person is going to use paracetamol, and you have documented it down. Now, if, for instance, 3 people now came to you and say they are having headache, since you have documented it, it is easy for you to tell them, go and take paracetamol and your headache will go. But a scenario where you are now waiting for somebody to now come and tell you that they have headache and you have not itemized that process down, it is going to be a challenge. So it minimizes the effect of disruption. Then it helps to keep people safe. It ensures business operation, continuous business operation. So it means at every point in time, the business is moving. The business is moving. And one of the things also that ensure business operation is if, for instance, when we are short-staffed in the organization, it means that only one person is handling a particular responsibility. If the person leaves the organization, it will be a challenge. So it's very important for organization to have, multiple persons handling different responsibility. Because if the next person sees opportunity to leave the country and they see something elsewhere, they will want to leave. So it's now important for organization to ensure that, yes, people can leave, but there is a process in place. And there are people that will handle that responsibility. And that process will not suffer. So we put that into consideration also. It minimizes financial impact. It protects brand image, compliance with regulatory or legal requirements. It ensures also organizational resilience. Someone mentioned this initially, that it promotes resilience, business continuity. It emphasizes on organizational resilience, as the case may be. The organization without BCMS tend to suffer, certain consequences, which include loss of customers, reputational damage, or monetary damage, or facing out of business, as the case may be, which we know that during COVID, a lot of organization falls into this category. But we are trying as much as possible not to be in this box. So possible business continuity disruption, whether for IT, for instance, if you don't have internet. Now, if your responsibility in the organization is centered around, working on the internet and sending mails and all that, if there's no internet, there's business disruption. And I'm sure some of us probably would have been to maybe some governmental organizations that probably, they tend to have network challenge. We understand that within that downtime, that their network is not working, they were unable to carry out any activity at that point. So that is why, whether you are in the government, whether you are in public or private sector, whichever sector that you find yourself, business continuity is important, because disruption does not know the sector that you are in. Disruption does not identify the sector. When there is pandemic, it affected all the sectors. When there is riots, it affects all the sectors. When there is flood, it affects all the sector. When there is vandalism, it affects all the sectors. So this is not a sector-based disruption. This is something that every sector can experience at any point in time. So we need to put in measures to address all of them. So there's a concept we call the BIA, business impact analysis. So this process really helps us to look into our organization, to identify various business functions that we have in the organizations, and we look at how we can identify among all the business functions, among all the processes that we have in the organization. It helps us to identify those ones that are extremely critical. That, for instance, if you don't do those processes, your business can phase out in no time. Like, for instance, you have, in the organization, maybe for an oil and gas company, you have different processes that you have. But then among all the processes now, one of the most ones that is very critical is to ensure that whenever you are on site, for instance, you should ensure that you put in some protective gears, some of those things like that. So you ensure that you look at those critical areas. You focus more on those critical areas compared to the less critical areas. It does not mean the less critical areas are not important, but your primary focus is on the most critical areas, which will disrupt the business. And we prioritize those ones more than we prioritize the less critical ones. There's something we call recovery time objective. So this is a period of time when an incident occurs that the business is set to resume. So it means that if a disruption happened and we have told ourselves that, okay, it will take about 2 minutes, take about 20 minutes or 2 hours for it to be, to be recovered, business to be recovered back to normal. So this time is what we call RTO, the maximum tolerable period of disruption. It means that if for some particular services that we render, like for instance, if you are into internet service provision, now you cannot accommodate a downtime of 2 days. You cannot accommodate a downtime of 24 hours. Within that 24 hours what your business will lose. Maybe there's fiber cut somewhere, or there's something happening somewhere. You will find a way to solve that challenge, as the case may be. So the MTPD, maximum tolerable period of disruption, is the time that we tend to look at for in this that we take for adverse impacts which makes arise as a result of not providing our services or products, as the case may be. So the benefits of 22301, it ensures continuity of critical operations during disruption. It reduces downtime and financial losses. It boosts stakeholders' confidence. Then also, in terms of regulatory requirements, it meets up with those obligations. Then one of the challenges that we tend to face here is lack of executive buy-in. It means that if the top executive are not seeing these as extremely important and critical for the survival of the business, definitely it is going to be it is not going to be effective, or the effective adoption of this of the 22301 lies critically in the hands of the executive. So they should tend to buy the idea and pass out or cascade the information downward. Then inadequate business impact analysis. Now, I just spoke about your BIA, business impact analysis. Now, if you conduct your BIA and it is not done properly, it will affect your business. And how do you conduct it improperly? It means that maybe you cannot really identify your critical business functions, or you are confused about which function is critical or which one is non-critical. So it means as organization, or as process owners, the processes that are extremely critical in the organization, and you can identify those areas when you are conducting your BIA, and those areas are given priority before you are giving priority to the less critical ones. Then difficulty in conducting and maintaining realistic testing. It means that you have come up with the plan, you have your plan, you have your the incident response plan, you have your business continuity plan. Now, all of this plan, you have not conducted a realistic testing about them, like your fire drill. You say when there is fire incident that you have fire suppression system, you have fire extinguisher, and you have not even tested these scenarios at any point in time. Now, if at the point of fire, you are now opening your fire extinguisher and it's not working, the building will suffer for it. So it means that everything that you have decided to do, you are testing, you are realistically testing those processes that you have identified. Then silo departments affecting collaboration. Now, as I mentioned, as an organization, there's a business objective that the organization tends to follow. And if different departments that are components of the organization entirely are not working together, they are not collaborating together, definitely it is going to affect the effectiveness and the adoption of the 22301. It is going to affect that. And that's why it's very important that top management tend to involve all departments and ensure that each of their responsibilities is being addressed to them, and they tend to understand where their inputs are coming from precisely. So this actually is the end of the the 3 standard. That's 2301, 27001, and 20,000. Well, as Doctor mentioned, I can just chip in information about the AI. And the standard for the AI is ISO 42001, which is the first global standard for artificial intelligence management systems. The same ISOs that develop 27001, 20,000, and also various other ISO standards, 14,001, all of them, they are the same ones that develop this particular one. So the framework for responsible AI development, deployment, and use. So that's what this particular framework is really talking about. And when we talk about artificial intelligence itself, it's more like we are bringing a concept to really help us, limit the amount of human interference in various activities of the management system. As the case may be, we are trying to, limit, because when you look at the errors that might come from people, like for instance, when you have an incompetent person handling a certain responsibility, definitely that so many consequences or impacts the organization could really gain, could really derive from that such a person. So one of the reasons why we try to bring in AI is to ensure that it's we have less human or less errors, and we follow, we fully adopt legal approach, or legal compliance with whatever regulatory as the case may be. So purpose of ISO 42001 could be enable trustworthy, transparent, and ethical AI. So this is not an AI for that promotes laziness. No, this is an AI that really, it helps organization to adopt various management systems that are trying to implement, to do it seamlessly, and to ensure that it's less, the risk involved is less compared to when human interference is being integrated. Then it integrates AI governance into operation as well. And it benefits, it builds trust in AI systems. It promotes responsible innovation, promotes AI governance, facilitates regulatory compliance, as the case may be, then supports AI risk management. AI risk management. So risk management for most of the management system that we that we are discussing, or that we discussed today, and so many more that will be discussed later on. Risk management is essential. Risk management is essential to your management system, to see if that management system itself will be effective, or if it is going to be something that is worth adopting within the organization. So the clauses here, they are not different from the ones from the other management system that we have. The clause 4 talking about your context of the organization, clause 5 the leadership, clause 6 the planning, clause 7 supports, clause 8 talking about the operation, clause 9 talking about performance evaluation, and clause 10 really emphasizing on continual improvement. So it's not different from 42,001. Then the requirements are human oversight, autonomy, algorithmic transparency, bias control and fairness, data quality and governance, the AI system security and robustness. So AI tends to look beyond coming up with an algorithm that will help to look beyond human flaws, or come up with conceptual theorems that will really help the management system of the organization to really meet up with requirements, follow adequate data quality and governance approach, as the case may be also. So as I mentioned, all of this standard, in terms of implementation, it makes a lot of meaning when it is being integrated together. It means that we have shared processes. When it comes to risk assessments, there's a risk methodology that is being followed, or risk treatment or assessment process is being adopted across board. So it's not something that you are following a risk approach in one and you are doing something different in another. So it helps to look at it from that standpoint. In terms of audit and training, it's been done collaboratively, as the case may be. Then there's a synergy within all the management system. As I mentioned, the whole clause 4 to clause 10. In most cases, they share the same ideas. It's just in few areas that they speak extensively about their respective management system. And in terms of cost also, it's cost effective in terms of implementation and also maintenance. Then here you can see various things that you tend to get. Optimize processes, clear roles and responsibilities, alignment of business objectives. That's where you align your business objective with both the service management system, information security, and business continuity objectives. Then standardization of your informal procedures. You reduce duplication and cost. It means that normally if you are going to implement these standards in an isolated form, you do it from clause 4 to 10 for difference, but then this tends to be collaborative. Then improve risk management and profitability, focus on strategic goals. Because when it comes to the strategic point of view, the top management might not really have an idea about what you are saying when you are saying BCMS or SMS or ISMS. They see it from they speak it generally. So, but when it is being collaborated as IMS, it tends to address various areas too. Consistency in implementation, stronger internal and external communication, enhanced training and awareness, which is very important. So secure top management commitments, conduct gap assessment and stakeholder awareness, build cross-functional implementation team, leverage tools for documentation and automation, train and empower staff continuously. I want to say thank you for listening. I don't know if there are a couple of questions that we'd like to ask so that we can look into it together before we call it a day. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Dami. Thank you very much. That was quite an insightful session. Thank you very much. And to the rest of us still on the call, please, if you have any questions, you can decide to use the chat room. We've dropped some information on the chat room, please. Decide to use the chat room or maybe unmute your mic. You can ask Mr. Dami any kind of question you want to. So please, if you do have a question, please, you can go ahead, please. Do we have anyone? Please, can anyone hear me? Are we still on the call?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. Please, if you do have a question, please go ahead and shoot your question. Okay, so I want to believe nobody has a question.
Sorry, I promise. So if nobody have a question, I would like to ask a question so that I know that people are really following with what I said. Just about one or two questions I want to ask.
Okay,
Right.
that's fine.
So I mentioned that there are elements of information security, 3 different elements of information security. Can anyone remind us about those 3 elements? Anyone want to help us about that?
We have the confidentiality, integrity, and availability.
Anyone else want to help us? Thank you very much, Ernest. Anyone else want to help us?
Yes. Yes, we have confidentiality, integrity, and availability.
Okay. All right. All right. So the question I asked is the 3 elements of information security. Now, the elements, as I mentioned before, I said the people, the process, and the technology or system. Those are the elements. Now, when you talk about your CIA is more like the triad of information security. So it's more like anything you are doing within information security lies or that anything you are doing within information security that you don't speak about confidentiality, integrity, and availability, it means it's incomplete. So we call them the triad of, we call them the CIA triad. And I also mentioned that more recently we have introduced the P, which is the privacy. So that's for the CIA triad or CIAP, as the case may be. But the element, as I mentioned, was the people, which is the staff or the stakeholders. We have the process, the business process, then we have the technology or the system, as the case may be. So those are the triad. So let me ask another one. What do you think are the benefits that you can get as the benefit that you can get as an ISO 20000, benefits you can get in ISO 20000? What are the benefits? Anyone want to help us out? Is there anyone that wants to help us out?
Customer delivery satisfaction.
Thank you very much.
Improvement of customer delivery satisfaction.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Anyone else want to chip in another one? Anyone else want to help us with another one?
Improve the efficiency and productivity.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Very good. Very good. Very good. Yes, that's part of it. Improve efficiency and productivity. Yes. Any other one? Any other one? Okay, lastly, let me ask this question. I need multiple answers for this one. Can we just describe forms of disruptions that we know? Any form of disruption that we know? So I want a chorus answer here. I want a chorus answer here. Forms
Can we
of
see
disruption.
data breach is part of like a form of disruption, you know?
Yes, it's a form of disruption. Yes, you're correct. Yes. Data breach. So the aftermath of the data breach is actually what will indicate if it's really a disruption. Now, there could be a data breach and you are still those data are still available for you to use. So it does not really disrupt your business at that point. So it might just be that maybe the set of persons that gain access to it just retrieve that information for themselves, and that's all. But a situation where your system is hacked and you don't have access to your system again, the information is not available for you. It's not available for you at that point in time. All right, anyone else want to help us out? There are a couple of ones. There are a couple. I've mentioned a lot of them.
Pandemic.
Thank you,
Sometimes
pandemic. Thank you, pandemic. Any other person?
I think sometimes software updates.
Exactly. An unplanned updates. Exactly. Exactly. Very true. That's very true. Any other one?
Let's say natural disaster.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Natural disaster. If there is tsunami now, everybody will not be where they are. Every business will just, everybody will pick race. All right, go on, please.
Another one is failure to update at every opportunity. You fail to implement the patches that have been sent to you. That can also cause disruption.
I didn't get that clearly, sir. What did you say?
What I'm saying is that failure to update the system with the patches that are being released from time to time.
Okay, patches. Okay, that's very true. That's very true. That's very true. All right, any other one? Any other one before we call it a day? Any other person want to help us out? All right. All right. So we still have floods, we have floods, we have fire, all those are disruption, protests, kind of protests that will happen that you can't leave your house or you can't walk in that precise location where your business operation is situated. So those could be called disruptions as well. So thank you very much for your response. Thank you, everyone. Promise you can go ahead, please.
All right, thank you, Dr. Damilare. Thank you for that very, very insightful session. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. And thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I believe that a lot has been learnt. I believe that you all have learned a lot. And it's a privilege and it's a pleasure to have you here. And I want to believe that this almost 4 straight hours of non-stop knowledge sharing has been of high impact to you as a person or to your organization. So quickly, before we round up, I'd like you to please, I don't want to do chat box this time around. All right, so I would appreciate if I can get 5 people to unmute their mic and tell me that one thing overall that you have learned in this training, something that you're taking back to for future use, whether in your organization or in your personal career. And what is that one thing that you're hoping to do with it? And if you're looking for further human capital development around ITGRC, let us know. If you're looking at, hopefully you're looking at some form of internship or life project experience, this is the time for you to unmute your mic and let us know. Share your experience with us. Share what it is that you're taking away from this program. Share your aspiration around GRC, and let's hear you. Anybody? I need 5 people. 5 people. 5. Unmute your mic. I don't want to chat box. I like to hear people. All right. Unmute your mic and speak. All right. It will be unfair that nobody unmutes their mic to tell us one thing that they have learned. It means that what you're trying to say is that we have just completely wasted both our time for the last 4 hours, which I do not believe that is so, which I do not believe that is true. So if I can get, let me get 3 people, if not the 5, let me get 3 people to unmute and just discuss with us, share with us, what is that thing that you have learned in this course of this training program? Anybody there's cares to volunteer?
Okay. For me, right, I would say part of the thing I've learned today is that we should not always, have to wait for something to occur before we know we need to plan for something. You understand? So we should always be a step ahead in case of when this matter arises, we will be fully prepared to start running the So just like I say, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail, something like that. So that's it.
Thank you. My mom used to say, he used to use the word should in case. I never really grasped the full meaning of it until when I started playing around business consulting, until when COVID happened to everybody and nobody was able to go anywhere and everybody was locked down. And that's when you know that you actually are married. That is what tests you as for the married people in the house. When you are stuck with your wife for a very long time, nobody goes anywhere. So thank you very much, Mr. Timileyin, for that. Any other person? Before we bring this to a beautiful close, any other person? One more person, any other person? Go ahead. Anybody? Who wants to help out? Who wants to bail us out? Wow. Nobody? Do I start to call names? Okay, thank you very much. Go ahead, Mr. Botemi. Go ahead, Botemi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
sir. For the much informed section, I'd just like to mention that based on the first session and the second session, what I can take from is that customer satisfaction is at the end of everything we are seeking to do. So in whichever area, in whichever firm we are putting all of these implementations into, we should our end goal should be the customer satisfaction. Whatever the customer needs, we should raise the quality to that extent. So whatever in our doings, in every processes we are doing, in every steps we are taking, we should always consider the customer satisfaction in every steps. That will guide us to ensure that we are always in the right track and we are not doing anything outside that.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. They say the quality of your product and the process that bettered your product or service determines the quality of that service or that product. A lot of people would tell you that there's a particular, like, take for example myself now. I'm a huge fan of peak milk. So if it's not peak, I don't do milk. So and of course everything is all comes to either preference or some level of customer satisfaction, or maybe the processes that that what's it called? Built up or bettered that that product in itself. A lot of people will tell you that it's Julius Berger's road that is the most durable road because they've seen the quality of their work in itself. You ever wonder why people will go to the market and say, I want to buy Maggi? You know, it's not Maggi. The Maggi is a product. Seasoning is what you're looking for. But because of the fact that, you know, they've built their brand over the years, even though I don't know where they are anymore, they built their brand and they've thrived on quality. And that's why people will go to the supermarket and say, I want to buy Biro. You know, Biro is the name of a product. All right. It's a name of it's a ball pen. But, you know, because of the fact that Biro was there, their process, the quality of what they were churning out at that time was second to none. So it's very important. Customer satisfaction will always be excellent if the quality of what the services and the product that you offer is what is equally excellent. So yes, 9001, like I always say, is the bedrock of all the standards. Every standard, whether it's NITA, whether it's ITIL, 20,000, 22,300, no matter the standard, 9001 is the bedrock of every other thing. All right. Thank you very much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's been a pleasure being here. I hope that, you know, we have been able to learn one or two things or more as we progress in our future careers and endeavors. And we're glad to have you, and we look forward to having you in subsequent ones. Most likely will be a paid version anyway. But please join our TH community. I'm sure that my colleagues have been dropping the link on the chat box for a while now. Please join our community. There's a lot that you can learn from that community. Ideas are shared, job opportunities are shared, connections are shared. A lot of benefits comes with joining our community. So please, I will be a great advantage to you as a person to be part of that community. All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, once again, and do have a great afternoon as it is. Thank you very much. Thank you, Promise, for this beautiful event. Thank you very much, and all the planning committee, member of the planning committee. I appreciate you, and also the distinguished facilitators who have taken time out to engage us, to share their knowledge, experience around several subject matters around the ISO standard. Thank you very much, and we do indeed appreciate you. And of course, above all, to all our distinguished, thank you very much for coming, and do have a good afternoon once again. Thank you.